Hey everybody, ReefGrrl here, and welcome to ReefGrrl Live. I'm so glad you could make it. The whole idea here is to have some fun, chat, ask a few questions, maybe show us what you're doing, and get to know each other a little bit better. So sit back, relax, grab a drink. The stream is about to begin. Yeah, maybe I should unmute my mic first. You'd think I'd done this before or something. Welcome, everybody. We already have 11 people watching and a whole bunch of comments to go through. And I'm kind of just barely awake because I'm a night person. And yeah, so hopefully I won't make too many weird mistakes. But we do have somebody in the waiting room waiting to come in. And I'm going to go through the chat, say hi to everybody. And then we'll bring in Cue Balls Reef. I know there are a few other people who plan to come in. You'll need to send me an email at reefgrrl@gmail.com if you want that link to come in, and then I'll send that to you. So I'm just going to open up my email here, and I have it ready to go. Okay. So we started out with Tony Close, UK Reef. Welcome, Tony. He says, hi, everyone, and thanks for trying to accommodate everyone time-wise. It was really interesting going through and finding all of those local times. So I don't know if that helped anybody, but it was fun to do and to see the disparity around the world in times of day. I know there are probably Southeast Asia and Australia are likely the areas where they're in the middle of the night now. And who knows, we might still see somebody. Ryan Shackleton is here. Might come in later, show my tank. Great that it's a time for us reefers in the UK to join in. Welcome, Ryan. I hope you do that. Scott Morrison is here. Hello from Scotland. Hey, Scott from Scotland. Benny, Filipino Reefers here. Hi, Benny. I hope you're having a great Sunday afternoon so far. Oh, who else? Scotty Damron. Hey, Scotty. Nice to see you here. And Lynn Reef Nerd is here. Yeah, Lynn, thank you for the no sound. But yeah, I changed up the way I did things a little bit at the beginning, and I did not unmute my mic. It's supposed to automatically unmute, but that only works if you let it mute, and I didn't. I muted it myself, so sorry about that. K Reef Aquarium Hobby. Hi, Kevin. Nice to see you too. There's Useless Reefer. Welcome. Chi-Town Reefers here. SUV Porridge is here. Oh, hello. Didn't expect to see you streaming. Yeah, here we are. Diacanthus Reef. Mildly unconscious asleep, but here. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's early for you because you're further west in the States, I think. I seem to remember. Cue Balls Reef, hello. Marcus's Reef. And there's Murphy's Aquatics. Hey, Pat. Nice to see you. Okay, so that's hi to everybody in the chat. We're up to 26 already. And I do have a couple of updates. I have a few photos to show you if things quiet down a little bit later. And for now, I think we should start with our first guest, who I know is from the UK, and that's Cue Balls Reef. Hello, Cue Balls Reef.
Hi, Cindy.
Nice to see you. And I can't remember where you're from.
Actually from PA, not the UK.
Oh, okay. All right. Apologies for that.
Oh, that's okay.
That looks like a nice tank.
Thank you. This is my 180-gallon, which I got up and running about 3 months ago. It was a transfer from a 72-gallon.
Oh, boy. Hey, Cue Balls, could you turn your phone sideways by any chance so we can get a fuller view of the tank? Like that? Yeah, there we go. That's cool. You can still stay off camera if you're more comfortable with that.
Nah, I'm ugly, so I don't want anybody to see me.
You look just fine to me.
Thanks.
So, looks like you got some beautiful fish in here. I see a cleaner shrimp going a little nuts on the rocks there.
Yeah, it's feeding time, so everybody's kind of going nuts right now. feeding some frozen mysis. And yep, everybody's kind of dashing around looking for food.
That's cool. So green chromis, how long have you had those? You have 4.
Those actually were the very first fish I ever bought 3 years ago, and I started with 6 and ended up with 4.
You know, that's pretty. I'm looking for the word impressive, because don't chromis usually kind of gang up on the weakest, and eventually there's only one left?
That's what I've heard, but proof's in the pudding, I guess.
Yeah. You got a good bunch.
Yeah, they started off actually in my way back when, 3 years ago, in a 16-gallon BioCube, and I kind of used them after the tank was cycled to continue and try and get my tank completely going. And quickly realized that 6 fish in a 16-gallon BioCube are not going to cut it. So the upgrades began.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a very, very familiar story to most people with a reef tank. Cool.
Hear it quite a bit.
Hey, Mermaids Reef. Cool. You're getting some compliments. Useless Reefer says, nice tank. Scotty Damron, nice tank. Love the 180s. What's the footprint of this tank?
6 by 2 by 2. Nice.
I love how your aquascape is at that level where once those acropora and assorted SPS start growing, you'll really fill in the upper part of the tank nicely.
That's pretty much what I was shooting for. I created all this myself with a lot of time and a lot of glue. And they're sectioned off. Each rock is actually a single piece. So if I want to change the scape or, take a piece out or anything like that, it's not just one big continuous piece. And I kind of built it. I wanted to shoot for about halfway. There's some high peaks, which, I plan eventually to get into acropora. I did get started here recently with a couple frags.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it's going.
It looks nice. That whole modular idea, when I put together the scape for the Red Sea tank, I did it with pieces that I could assemble together. And it was mainly because that's as much as I could lift and move. But the whole modular thing made it really easy to take apart and transfer to the holding tank it's in. And that's how I'm planning to do the scape for the new tank, because it just makes it so much more maneuverable. And one thing I learned via the process with Mollywood and with the Red Sea tank is that those things are freaking heavy when you pull them out, because of course now they're saturated with water.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe when they went in, they weren't quite so fully saturated. So that's another advantage, I think, to pre-curing rock, which I'm thinking is an advantage. That's what I'm doing right now, because then any saturation that's going to take place should mostly have happened by the time in a month or so I pull those out of there and move them over to the tank. So it won't be quite such a shock when I try to move them.
Well, it was definitely a tricky situation trying to get this in here without dropping anything. And you really had to trust your glue and your epoxy.
That's right, because sometimes there's only one place you can hold it, and it isn't always a place that protects, sort of vulnerable overhangs or heavy areas that are joined together. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and some of these arches that I built are just held together like with the slightest amount of epoxy and glue. And so trying to lift this to get it into the tank, because I built this stand and made it a little higher so I didn't have to bend down to look into the tank.
I hear you.
And getting up on a ladder with a 20-pound rock, trying not to drop it and shatter your aquarium is a lot of fun.
Oh, yes. I've been there. I know exactly what you mean. How tall is your stand?
Oh, boy. I can't even remember. I think it's 36.
Right.
36 inches tall.
Yep. So you've got a good 5 feet of height as far as the entire unit goes, and you're right. You really don't have to bend over quite so far. That was my aim with the new tank. My
Right.
stand will be 40 inches tall, and the glass itself is only 21. So I really hope I'm not, leaning over at the hips trying to see down under the rocks. I hope it's not quite so extreme.
Well, you can always kick back in a lounge chair with a beer and.
That's right. Oh, I have space over in the corner. Over in the corner of my room, just over here to my left. It's behind the door, and I already have the chair. We just don't know if it'll fit yet. So I guess I'll find out. And a little table, and that's where the internet connection is, so that I can spend my evening time in here once the tank is up and running, or even once the room's cleared out enough, instead of in the living room, and have something to look at. So that's cool. So you said, how long has this been up and running, you said?
Since mid-November.
So 3 months-ish. Wow.
Yeah.
Looks good. And is that an anemone you have in the center there that the
That's
clowns?
my centerpiece, yeah. He's
Nice.
a rose bubble tip. He's been in there about a month. And I bought him from a local reefer who was selling. He had like an anemone farm. It was $50. I couldn't pass that up.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, the regular clowns that I have, they they wanted nothing to do with it. I have a mist bar, an orange mist bar, and then I have a black and white phantom clown. He's swimming around somewhere, but they wanted nothing to do with it. And so I went and got some tomato clowns because they're my favorite.
Yeah.
And
they're feisty.
One took to it like you wouldn't believe, and the other one swims all the way at the other end of the tank because she wouldn't let him in. So.
Wow. Oh, hey, Mermaids Reef. Well, let's see who else we got. Detroit Hammer, welcome. Trigger's getting his laps in. Oh, I didn't even see that you have a triggerfish in there.
Yeah,
oh, the night. Is it a small Niger trigger?
Small, I guess.
Well, maybe scale. It's the scale of the tank.
Yeah, he's probably about 3.5 inches. But the triggerfish are the reason I got into the hobby.
Yeah.
And he's like the most model citizen you'd ever meet, but all he does is swim laps all day. So
Lynn Reef Nerd said he's excited to be on camera. That's probably it,
Yep.
Hey, Marcus's Reef, and there's the Herm 14. Good morning from the San Francisco Bay Area to all reefers. Oh, welcome. I'm not sure if you've been here before. You might have been, and I'm just not remembering. Yeah, he says, the Herm says 3 months in. Nice. That's good. Cue Balls Reef is wondering what kind. Oh, I'm sorry. Your Cue Balls Reef. Ryan Shackleton. I was kind of half talking and half reading the comment. What kind of lights are you using?
I'm using the Vipar Spectra.
Ah,
the
I know
Amazon
those
specials.
lights. I have one over my holding tank, a small one. Yeah.
I modified them. I took the lenses out, and I don't know if this camera will actually pick it up, but I added a light diffuser to each one.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it kind of spreads the light out a little more evenly instead of being so spotlight. Almost looks like one of those Philips.
Oh, Coral Care?
Yeah.
Coral Care, I think they're called. Yep.
But instead of $1,100, this is $100. So.
Yeah.
But these are the lights I was using on the 72 gallon, and just kind of picked one more up, and now I have 3 going over the tank.
Huh. And they look like they're doing the job.
Yeah. I'd probably see faster growth with, the more expensive lights, but I definitely have growth. The tank as a whole, I mean, when the 72 was up and running, it was only up and running for about a year before I upgraded to this.
Yeah. Yep. So did you put this in a different spot from your 72, or did you have to move the 72 to fit this in?
No, I had the 72 about 10 feet away.
Right. So that's good. You were able to do a proper transfer in the sense that it wasn't all in and all out in one day.
Right.
Cool.
Probably about one of the scariest things I've ever done.
Well, it took me 2 months to get the entire reef moved from the Red Sea over to the holding tank. And I agree with you on the stressful. It was just constant worry about how it was going to go.
Well, to add on top of that, I had to build the area where I was going to put all this. So this whole wall behind was all built because it was just a plain brick wall. And
Right.
my wife said, well, if we're going to do this, let's do it right. So we drywalled and, added all the funky stuff in there. And
that looks cool. I like the hammerhead.
Yeah, I made that myself.
That's awesome. Is that made from wood?
Yep.
Nice. Seagull, fishing net, bobbers. That's really nice.
Yeah, there's over in the corner, there's the piece that I cut it out of. But yeah, I just put some paint on there and scraped it up with some sandpaper and got me a hammerhead.
Very nice. Hey, Michelle Salas. Good afternoon. I am from São Paulo, Brazil. He's using the Triton method. Which method or balling do you use? Hugs to all. So that's a good question, Cue Balls. Do you? I assume you dose. What sort of method do you use, if so?
I'm using the ESV Bionic.
Yes. If I'm correct, if I remember right, PR ReefGrrl uses that, and her 210 is really, really beautiful.
Yeah, I've been using that. I started on my smaller nano tanks. I used Kalkwasser, and just when I got into the bigger tanks, I didn't like the effect that it had on my pumps because I was always losing pumps in my ATO. Ooh. And so I figured, well, I'll switch to something, and did a lot of research and just came up with the ESV Bionic. I like that it adds trace elements as well as your main elements.
Yeah. Pappy Reefer says he also uses Bionic. Hey, Pappy Reefer. And I just had a comment from Ryan Shackleton to say that he was just about to come in and his lights are due to go off. So he's going to come on next week. And that's probably an announcement I should have made at the beginning, is that depending how this goes, I will probably do this time about the last Sunday of every month. And then that way, once a month, we can get people in from places where they normally can't attend on a Saturday night. But it won't always work out for me to do a Sunday. So if I aim for the last Sunday of every month, the other streams will remain to be Saturday nights at 9 Eastern. So just for information, if that helps anybody. But you know what? I'm open to suggestions. If it turns out that this time isn't good for people, maybe suggest a different time within a few hours either way, and we'll see what we can set up. This is very much an experiment. So I appreciate any input that you might have. Okay, sorry about that, Cue Balls.
Oh, no.
So
got to do your plugs.
Yeah, well, exactly. I just want to make sure people have the information they need, right? Because I think this was pretty short notice. So
yeah, that's why we're all here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not doing anything. Well, let's go check it out. So for your dosing, do you go via dosing pump? And if so, what do you use? Is your sump, can you show us your sump?
I should be able to.
Oh, cool.
Let me turn on a light here. I used to have a light on a smart plug, but switched it out because I added a frag tank.
Oh, and it begins.
Yeah. Let's see.
Here's Ryan McCallum. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Hey, Ryan, thanks for coming by. And there's Taryn's Little Ocean. Hi, Taryn. Glad you could make it. Oh, this is looking nice.
Let's get
So
rid of this.
You painted inside then too, right? Oh, that looks
Yeah,
good.
I painted with outdoor paint actually, so that it didn't weather quite as easily. Just plain old white.
Yep.
And
I like white because it's reflective and you can see everything. I had a black interior of the Red Sea cabinet, and I have to say, I found it difficult sometimes.
Right. The stand, I built the stand myself, and basically it's all 2x4s, which some people will, say that's not enough, but I put center braces everywhere. I just tried to build it up as much as I can because, 2,000 pounds roughly.
Yeah.
But I painted all the plumbing black and yellow. Go Steelers.
Good for you. So you painted your elbows and your pipes with paint?
Yep.
What did you use, like Krylon or something?
Yep. Krylon Fusion.
Yeah. Oh, that's good to know. It's funny. It must be a guy thing because I have all white plumbing, but I have the green trash can, and my husband's going, if you want, I can paint all those pipes. They don't have to be white. And I'm going, yeah, but it looks fine to me. It's I really can admire a pimped out sump. I really can, but it's not something I've ever felt that I needed to have. I like how it looks though. I like the yellow and black.
It was just a fun little project.
Sure.
Cool. It's a 55-gallon Petco special.
Ah.
And there's my dosing station.
Yep.
And I'm using the old Jabo pump.
Yep. I use a Jabo, and it has been flawless for me.
Yep. And then filter sock. I basically just have it hanging from a little hook.
Yep.
And the water flows down. And my Reef Octopus skimmer and a refugium section, which you can't really see. I'm growing Chaeto in there right now.
Looks healthy.
Yeah. And then just over a bubble trap and into a Jabo DCP 10,000.
Yep.
And what else? We got a bulkhead here, which I'm running the BRS reactor at the end just for carbon.
Yep.
And eventually I plan to tie in the bulkhead to my frag tank.
Right. And what's running the bulkhead? Is that what I think of as a manifold?
A manifold.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
It's all coming off of the same pump.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's powerful. I have DCS 7000 running the sump currently, and it's pushing, reveal, 275 gallons at the moment. Because nobody knows. I haven't told anybody yet how many gallons are actually in the basement, but it's 275. We figured it out. Yeah, those Jabo pumps, I don't know. I completely understand the reluctance because of the price point, but I think of them as good value for money. I have zero doubt every once in a while you get a bad one, just like you do from any manufacturing process. Of the 4 that I own, the DCS 7000, one has a cracked impeller, the plastic part of it, but I believe it cracked when it drew in a carbon pellet that escaped into the return chamber, and those things are hard as rocks. And it made the most ungodly grinding noise. So I shut it off and turned it on. The noise went away. The pump seemed to work fine, and I never thought anything of it. And when I took it apart to clean it, I discovered the impeller was cracked right through, and it probably was not working efficiently, but it was still working. That's the whole point.
Right.
So,
I built this whole tank. I watch so much YouTube, and everybody has all this fancy equipment and controllers, and I would rather put livestock in there and spend my money there.
Yeah.
So
you put a filter on. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to go as budget friendly as possible when it came to the build.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I hear you. That's the approach I've always taken. And if I get let down in some way, then I switch directions. But honestly, anything I've ever got that's been Jabo has worked better than any way I would have expected. It's
Right.
really been good. Yeah. Who else have we got in here? Davis Jew. Hey, Don. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming by. Pappy Reefer says he's normally doing water changes now. Thanks for the excuse not to. Oh, Marcus has reefed some feedback. I like the normal time, but this is nice as well. I think this is a good idea. Thanks, Marcus. Any kind of feedback, even if you want to leave comments below when I have this as a video on the below the replay, I appreciate hearing what you think of it. There's Salty Reef. Welcome. Diacanthus Reef also likes the black and yellow plumbing, but he doesn't approve of the reason. I guess he's not. What did you say, Steelers?
Go Steelers, yeah, black
Steelers,
and gold.
yeah, yeah. My husband is a Patriots fan. Only he was.
I'm
He
sorry.
didn't watch. Everybody says that, but haters gonna hate. But he really didn't watch football this year. Brady was in where is it, Tampa Bay, and
Tampa,
he did watch that and he enjoyed it, but he's kind of gotten away from football with all of this moving and reef stuff, and I don't know whether he'll go back to it, but he might. Oh, hey, Dells Reef, good to see you back. Yep, been back for a little while, and I'm enjoying it. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it, and we'll keep going. Scotty Damron says, I'm Jabo all the way. Yeah.
You can't beat the price for
no the value for money.
Doing. Yeah.
I mean, I understand Travis from Fish of Hex has had issues in recent times, maybe the last year or so, with the power heads not being as good quality as they used to be. I haven't found that, but what I really don't like is their constant renaming of the different series, because most of those controllers are interchangeable. If you look at the wattage, and I've swapped out controllers and mounting and all of that kind of thing, and they're all pretty much interchangeable. I will not go Wi-Fi because the Wi-Fi just isn't reliable enough for me not to have another option, which would be manual, like a controller with buttons I can push. So I haven't gotten into any of those, but
Yeah, it's fun trying to find their products on Amazon sometimes because you don't know what to search for.
No, exactly. Hey, Will. Santiago Reefing is here. Really nice to see you, Will. Good afternoon, everyone. Jabo pumps have always been good for me. Yeah. And Trustkills 710 says your tank looks beautiful.
Thank you.
There you go.
I do use Jabo for some of my. I have the Jabo Wave Maker.
Yep.
But I also have an MP40 in there. So
right. Yeah.
I think that's the most expensive thing I have in my tank is that.
Yeah, MP40. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Yeah, Diacanthus says Jabos run just fine if you maintain them. They just don't tolerate being dirty as well as more robust pumps. Just my sense. Yep, you're right.
And that's the thing I found. I do a citric acid bath once a month.
Yes.
And
yes.
I have no trouble whatsoever. And that Jabo Wave Maker is 2 years old.
Yep.
And no trouble whatsoever.
I still run a 6-year-old WP10.
That's going back.
Oh, yeah. That was one of the first they came out with. Mm-hmm. And I probably paid $59 for it because, of course, that was 6 years ago. But it has never let me down. And I don't use it in the regular tank anymore because I don't feel like I'm not comfortable with the controller being accurate. So I just run it when I need to run something all the time on one steady speed, but it's still working. Who else came in here? Oh, sorry. Somehow my bell is off. Dells Reef. I learned something. This isn't really reef related. It's more YouTube related. I learned something about how YouTube notifies people. They used to send out emails that would say when you're whoever you subscribe to and you've asked for notifications, they would send an email to say this video has been published, that live stream's happening, there's been a community post, whatever. And they apparently stopped doing that last August because they judged that the open rate for those emails was so low that they were thinking people didn't see them. I mean, I would say no, it's more that if people see such and such has done a video, oh yeah, I'll go back and watch that. I know that it's there. That's how I was looking at it. I hardly ever opened it until I was ready to go there, click on the play button and go and watch the video. So they've stopped doing that. And now apparently you're notified via your subscription feed. And I think the subscription feed is found either on your computer or in the app, in the YouTube app. I don't use the app. I don't use my computer. I use the full website on my iPad and on my phone. So I think that's why I haven't found out about people's videos that have been published. So I don't know if that helps anybody, but I found out about it quite by accident in one of the creator newsletters that YouTube puts out. And I'm disappointed that those emails went away because that was how you got a sense of who was doing what. And you could say, oh yeah, I need to know about that. And you could go right to the video. Well, now you have to go another route to a subscription feed and find it. So yeah, anyway, okay. Reef rant over. Yeah, that looks really nice. That yellow tang looks big.
Yeah, I guess I take back what I said about the MP40 because now that yellow tang is the most expensive thing in the tank.
These days, if you had to replace it,
yeah,
that's for sure.
He just got, that is Commissioner Gordon. He is the overseer of the tank. He just actually got out of quarantine about 3 or 4 days ago because he was acting really funky. And when the blue lights were on, he had white spots here and there, but his eyes were kind of glazed over, like some sort of film over his eyes. So I took him out of the tank and put him in hyposalinity for 6 weeks. Yeah. And in the process of that, he ended up with a bacterial infection on his tail fin. And so I treated him for that. And he pulled through, and he's back in the tank, and there's no signs of anything now.
Well, that was a really smart thing to do. And I guess it also reinforces why it's good to have another tank available to do something like that.
Yeah. Well, I've got probably about 10 or 12 tanks sitting around here. So I use tanks whenever I can. Hospital tanks or grow out tanks or anything like that. But most of them are just empty, sitting in my garage. Right. You gotta love the $1 Petco special.
Oh yeah, $1 per gallon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We don't get that up here in Canada, but I can bet it's a great way to get extra tanks. Someone wants to know. Let me find where that is. Trust Kills 710. Is asking what the molt time is on your cleaner shrimp, if you know.
I've never really. It's often. I'll put it that way. Usually at least once a month, I'll find his molt up in one of my power heads or stuck to the overflow. But I do dose iodine. Probably once every 3 months, I'll put some iodine in here to help with his molting. Mm-hmm. And I'm about due for an ICP test just to find out if my iodine levels are high or low, but it works. Yeah. I don't test for it, and I know people say you don't dose what you can't test for, but I put 5 drops of iodine in here maybe once every 6 weeks or so, and I see no ill effects.
And do you use Lugol's?
Yep.
Yeah, me too. I actually put 2 drops in the 90 every Friday because I have so many snails in there, and 1 drop in Mollywood. And I've been doing that forever, and iodine's never been a problem. And my shrimp, I have 2 peppermint shrimp and a fire shrimp in Mollywood, and they molt probably once every 2 weeks, something like that. And they're getting huge.
Yeah. I have the one cleaner, and then down with my yellow Watchman goby, there's a pistol shrimp in there.
Yeah.
And that's about it for shrimp. I used to have a peppermint shrimp, but when I transferred, I never saw him, so I'm not sure where he ended up, but probably lunch for the trigger. But
Yeah, I have a green wrasse. I don't have any shrimp in the 90, but the green wrasse is going to the LFS when that stuff gets moved out of there and into the sump once it's cycled. I'm not going to keep that type of wrasse anymore. He's been nothing but trouble. I hate that fish, and I really miss having shrimp. I absolutely love how they hang around in the aquascape. I just think they're really intriguing.
yeah, my cleaner shrimp, he likes to live dangerously. He'll usually perch on the rocks underneath the anemone, and it doesn't seem to bother the clown, but that's living dangerously, I guess.
Yeah, I guess if he got stung by one of those long tentacles, it probably wouldn't be a good thing for him. Well, look at the fish that just swam under there.
That
It's a
is,
small one.
yeah, that's my 6 line
Okay.
wrasse.
Wow, he's living dangerously too.
He too lives dangerously, yeah. And
Oh
the
boy.
weird part is the tomato clown actually lets him in and lets him hang around the anemone. Most of the other fish he'll chase away, or she, I
Yeah.
guess. She will chase them away, but that 6 line likes to hang out under there.
Well, wrasses, I mean, I guess wrasses that bury themselves in the sand have a decent slime coat, so maybe he gets away with it a little easier.
Let's hope.
Yeah. Hey, Will's Aquarium, welcome. Marcus's Reef says, Panthers, I need black and teal. Well, now you know how.
Yeah. Krylon fusion.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see, who else has snuck in here? Oh, Paul R is here. Hey, Paul R. Eggboy64. Hey, Andy. I hope you're doing well. He has a couple of SLW 20s, which are really Nero knockoffs, and they are great. I have an SLW 10, and I do like it, except I'm accustomed to the greater maneuverability of the flow direction that you get on the regular Jabo power heads. It's one of the reasons I probably won't use any of the MP pumps, because I like to target my flow and I like to be able to direct them. So we'll see. We'll see what happens going forward.
That's kind of why I went with 2 different. I have the MP40, which is on Reef Crest or whatever, that random flow. And then my Jabo pump, I can directionally point it. I keep it pointed a little more towards the surface for extra agitation. And I agree with you. The directionability of other pumps is a nice thing to have.
Yeah. All right. Well, we also have Alex G in the waiting room. Any other interesting fact? Are you using a lid on this tank? That's the other thing I was wondering.
Yeah, I built one from the BRS kit, and it's just a screen, one of their fancy screen mesh tops.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those are good.
It's tricky though. They don't give you extra framing, so if you mess up a cut or if you bend it or break it or something like that, you're kind of stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that before. Or if you need some maneuverability around tank mounted lights or anything like that, it gets really tricky.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, we're getting a lot of chat about different pumps. Marcus's loves cleaner shrimp. Just makes it hard to have a lot of wrasses. Very true. I guess that's why they say reef safe with caution. Oh, Tony Close has a question for you, Cue Balls.
Sure.
Does the sealant in the tanks decay over time when they're left dry after being wet?
I hope not.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the tanks that I have sitting around are 10 or 20 gallon tanks. And usually if I am in a pinch and I need to start up a QT tank or something like that, I just put water in it and take some take a piece of rock or something out of one of my old tanks just to help seed for a quick cycle.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's $20 from Petco, if you buy $1 per gallon. So if the seal blows on it,
Yeah.
I have spares, but I've never seen or heard of the seals.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much experience with storing tanks because any tanks we've had have always found a way to use them somehow. But the 90 holding tank that I'm using right now was dry for probably 2.5 years. And it was in the garage, and we didn't really put a blanket over it or do anything special to protect it. And so before we used it, obviously, we filled it with water to make sure that it was okay. And then we brought it over to my daughter's house where it is, and we filled it again slowly, once again to make sure it was okay after moving it again. And it turned out to be fine. And that tank was built in 2000. There's a sticker on it. So it was 20 years old when we put it in service as a reef tank, which it has never been. It's not drilled or anything, but it had never had salt water in it. The stand is really, really rusty. And it'll be interesting when we take that tank off there after it's empty to look at the stand and see whether anything has deteriorated to the point where it might have let go. But yeah, that's a valid question. And I would think any silicone that's squeezed between glass, if there's no oxygen getting to it, it shouldn't really have any reason to degrade other than if you expose it to sunlight or.
Well, from experience, I can tell you this tank sat in a garage for 5 years.
Wow.
The guy I bought it from just had it sitting there because his wife wouldn't let him set it up because it was too big. And the seals, when I paid $200 for this tank, so but the seals when I got it were shot. They were completely wasted away on the inside.
Okay.
So I had to scrape all that silicone and totally reseal this tank myself. And that is, I guess, one thing. It was, sitting in a cold garage. It wasn't very well ventilated. And I think that just the weather and, all the different seasons going by from hot to cold. This was from a guy in Pittsburgh, so we get some crappy weather around there. But the seals in that case, on the inside, the silicone was completely weathered.
Yeah. Cool.
So I guess, it might depend on where and how you store the tanks.
Very true. Like anything, if you want to maintain it and take care of it, it does need protection from the elements. Oh, hey, Producer Reef. Hi, everyone. I'm late. And there's Johnny Martinez. Nice to see you, Johnny. Okay. Well, what do you think if we bring Alex in and see what he's up to? I've seen on Insta where he's been doing things this week.
He's probably working on something.
Yeah, probably. Thanks a lot for this, Cue Balls. This
sure.
has been really interesting. Okay. Oh, he's rubbing his eyes. And there he is. Hey, Alex.
Morning/afternoon.
Yeah. What time is it where you are?
Oh, it's on about 1 o'clock, so it's not. I'm just in Central Time, so I'm not too far off.
Good. Cool. So you've been busy this week.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. So
Oh, it's got glass. Now this is the frag tank.
no, this is
No?
this will be the refugium.
Oh, so that's the 700 and 700. We're calling it
Just call it
700.
700. That's fair. It's a little smaller than before.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And how did the whole experience go? First, you had to put the pond liner in.
Stressful?
Did you get all the origami figured out properly?
Yes, but I did have to. I had it all laid out on the basement floor and measured it, taped it off, and you just do 4 cuts.
Yep.
So you could do the folding. And after I got it in there, I realized that 2 of the 4 cuts I did in the wrong direction. So
Oh,
I thought about it and I was like, well, I could do it while it's in the tank and it'll be just fine. And then the other part of me said, no, that's a really dumb idea because you're going to mess up this pond liner and not be able to do anything and have to buy a new one. So,
are they expensive?
wasn't too bad. I think it was like 150 or $200.
Yeah, but still.
So, I mean, it's not something I want to have to replace because I don't want it to be scrapped. So,
Well, no, exactly. And I guess, although if you start with the biggest space, it could end up being used in but then how small would you go and build a plywood tank? Because at some point you would just go with glass, right?
well, I think that well, with the pond liner, I mean, if I had ruined it, I'd just had to find another use for it. I was going to throw
pond.
it away.
Maybe a pond.
No, well, the one thing I did use scrap from actually I cut it from the other pond liner because I needed some excess was for the tile bottom I wanted a second layer of pond liner on top of the first one
Mm-hmm.
just as a protective barrier. So
Yeah.
but no, I was able to recut it though. It was all above the water line and everything where the cuts were. So
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. And you got the pond liner in and then you put the tile in?
yep.
Yeah.
So it was the felt underlayment, then the pond liner,
Mm-hmm.
then a little second layer of pond liner on the bottom, and then tile.
This is so great, for anybody that's ever been thinking about going really big and they really don't know where to start. What you've gone through, you've documented it all, and you can show people the steps to take, and it's based on your own experience. And that's why I love hearing about it, because it gives you an appreciation of what goes into some of these monster systems. So those are braces that are holding the glass against the front?
Yeah, they are on there pretty good too. So because when I initially sealed this thing, it didn't quite go to plan, as nothing ever does. I got the seal on and I went, I did it. I had the glass pushed back about an inch and a half, or about 2.5 inches away from the seal face. And after I had done a very extensive cleaning with alcohol on it,
Mm-hmm.
let it dry, I put spacers on the glass and then let it sit for a while. And then when I went to go and put the seal on, I put it on thick and I said, this should be enough to do the whole thickness of the seal, which is at least 2 to 2.25 inches all the way around. So I had to climb into the tank and push it on, and I could see what the seal was doing from in there. And I'm pushing it on, and I'm like, it's not squeezing through the whole thing.
Uh-oh.
That's not good. And it was just the fact that like pushing alone was not going to do it. So I literally had to use the styrofoam and the 2x4s to physically wedge
Yeah.
it in and force it through. because I was actually trying to inject more into it desperately before I got it to go. And then I'm like, okay, I got way more than I need now, but I could live with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because what's the alternative? You discover at some point down the road that you should have used more.
Yeah, it is very ugly on top, but I don't care.
Marcus's Reef is just wondering what you used for sealing the glass to the liner. What did you end up using?
I went with RTV 108.
RTV. Just wondering which which adhesive won the test.
The RTV 108.
Yeah. Cool.
It broke the pond liner before it removed itself from the glass test. So, right. And yeah, so I did multiple tests with it, and that was the one, and I kind of figured it would be. So it easily beat Silicone 1 and Black or Gold Label. I'm sorry. So those were the other two that I tested.
And the blue that we see around the glass.
It's just painters. It's just a painter's tape. I probably should have removed that, but
well, I was just curious if I figured it would go away. I was just wondering if it served any function, but it's probably to guide the edges of the sealant, I would imagine.
A little bit. I just it was more so I wanted to have that there, but when I was applying the sealant, it let me know where to make sure I was putting down a consistent bead in the right places.
Right.
So, yeah, but no, I think it turned out good. So it's got 13 days to go before we'll be ready. Before I will try to put any water in this thing.
Yeah. And is that a recommendation on the adhesive itself, or is just Alex's patented method?
Alex's prior experience was wait 2 weeks, and it worked good because I mean, this is a very thick seal. It's going to take time to fully cure.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So
do you put fans or anything on it to move the air, or just let it sit?
Just let it sit. It's already cured up pretty good on the outside. It's just what's going on in the thick layer is what I'm more concerned with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but no, it went well. I think it was just very stressful. Going back and forth I had to cut some lumber in the middle of this because I did not have enough wedges of the appropriate size ready.
Yeah.
So, but once that's done, I can get the canopy, which is kind of standing up vertical on the other side of the basement over here, and get that going.
Yep. And on Instagram, you mentioned that your wife helped you because you had to move this piece of glass after you cleaned it off.
Yep. Yeah, so this piece of glass, because in part I shattered the last one, and the fact that this one weighs another 100+ pounds more, I built a vertical stand for it so that it would hold it at, shimmy back over here. I built the stand just a little taller than the lip here for the front edge. So that way, when I maneuvered the glass in, I pulled this triple beam off, and then one of the inner beams too came off in one piece. Put that on the side, put styrofoam down there, and then I just slid the glass all the way into the corner. And then I had my wife steady it, and then picked it up and swung it inside, propped it up, and then put this back on.
Right.
So this I had to have the pond liner in first, though, because the glass has to be inside with it. So this was just hanging there, so I had to kind of work that over the glass real quick.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was a big job, and then Yesterday, I basically spent all day, probably about 10, 11 hours yesterday prepping this to get the glass installed. So,
Yep. Well, it's one of those things that everything you should do, you take the time and do it so it's done right. Because there will always be stuff you didn't expect, and you got to leave room to panic. That's always been my approach. Even little things like, do I have anywhere to put my feet while I'm doing this? Because, sometimes you set everything up and suddenly it's like, well, I can't maneuver around properly because I got nowhere I can stand to pick up the weight I need to pick up to move it. And like just down to the last detail.
yeah, and I did several dry runs of this too before I actually did it. So it was just how much of force was going to have to be applied to push the glass forward. Because the last time I did this is the first time I've ever mounted glass upright.
Mm-hmm.
My other tanks, I had laid them face down so that I didn't have to do that.
Right. And what are the finished dimensions then of this pane of glass?
92 inches and 34 tall, I think, or 92 and a half.
Wow. It doesn't look 34 tall. It must be because it's so long. Yeah. I mean, really nice proportions.
Yeah. So there's a couple inches on either side on the overhang here too. So that subtracts a little off the height.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex.
Yes, sir.
What kind of medication are you going to take when you eventually fill this thing up with water to calm your nerves?
You know what? After here's the thing: is that this is in unfinished part of the basement with epoxy floor, and there's a floor drain over here. I'm not even gonna. Hey, when it happens, it happens. So, I've recently seen a couple other folks on YouTube that have done some really big plywood tanks and stuff. And a couple of them, they were like, all right, time to fill it. And they just put the hose in there and they fill the entire thing up. And I'm like, no.
Oh boy.
No, you don't want to do that. Slowly.
I know after I got my tank resealed and let it sit for about 2 weeks, that was probably one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done was a test fill.
Yeah, this is I got fairly high confidence in it, so I'm not too concerned. Just because now that I've done it, and just this style of seal, I mean, I could see on a regular glass tank where you're doing like butted joints, that's definitely more nerve-wracking than, I mean, this is basically the glass would have to shatter, which we don't want that to happen.
No.
But I'm gonna fill this up with about 12 inches of water and let it sit for a day or two. And then we'll go another third. And with this being a pond liner tank, I learned with my last one, like the sides on here are pretty loose right now. And that's because you really can't get them flattened out and straightened out until you got some water pressure on it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and if you fill it all the way, it's a lot harder to redistribute the wrinkles and move them up out of sight because there's so much pressure on it. Whereas if you go a third at a time, you can straighten out those parts a third at a time and get a much better finished look, I would imagine.
Yeah, and I mean, I always like to fill things slowly too, because if you're going to have a failure, I'd rather have the failure with 12 inches of water in the tank as opposed to filling it up with 36 inches immediately.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I mean, it's a lot of weight, and you don't want to just throw that weight onto the stand and the floor immediately. You want to kind of let that load gradually come on.
Yeah, exactly.
So, But yeah, no, I was happy to have it done. It does not look very pretty right now, but I'll probably do some little fascia boards or something on here to make it look a little cleaner. But
Yeah, it's like anything when you go in and look at it during early stages of construction, you wonder how it ever could be finished off. But then a little while later, when it's ready to go and you've got it all trimmed up, you would never know.
yep. So I'm just, happy that the glass is on there and I don't have to move this piece anymore, because I got to be honest, I was more nervous about the glass sitting there on the stand, and I was getting paranoid of, don't hit it with a tool accidentally, don't
Mhm.
walk into it accidentally, because you can't see the thing
Uh-huh.
when you're walking straight at it.
At the end of the
Oh,
day, how
man.
much do you think this is going to cost?
I already had the stand and the bracing I kept from the last setup. So, and I had the glass for this one. So all the expense of that was already paid for. So I got 2, 3. I want to say maybe I'll have like $400 or $500 into the liner, the RTV, the tile, underlayment. So I mean, I that's the reason I revived this tank. I already had a lot of what I needed.
So the the refugium, you're putting Miss Stabby's. Well, you're putting another mantis shrimp into a 150, into your 150, right?
Yep, this one over here. So
Yeah. So your refugium, do you plan to have any actual livestock in it, or?
there are some things I'd like to do, but I don't know if I'll be able to yet. So
Right. Yeah.
some uncommon stuff that's not readily available.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure yet, though. I mean, even if it's just a lot of macroalgae and pods swimming around in here, I'll be fine with that for right now.
Yep. Yeah, you had mentioned a while back trying to do some get some bioluminescent organisms.
Yeah, there's a chance I might try to connect with some researchers and see if I can establish a colony to help that research.
Right.
So,
Right.
but we'll see. For now, it's just gonna have a bunch of algae in it.
Here's my algae tank.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, if I buy, I'm pretty tempted to buy another little shipment of live rock, and I don't know if I'd stick it directly in here or I'd put it in the 150.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, just in case there's already a mantis living in there, right?
well, and even if one was in here, I really wouldn't be too concerned about it. It's not going to hurt anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Hey, Fragile Reefer. Who else we got? Bert Minshew. Hi, Bert. Mr. DKH is here. Hello, Andrew Hudson from the UK. Nice to see you. Ryan Shackleton has a question, and I don't know. I have my opinion. I wonder what you guys think. What's the opinion of putting a little red on the color spectrum for your lights? Would love to hear other reefers' opinions on this. Any thoughts on adding red, or I guess on most lights there's the capability of adding that spectrum.
I'll let Q-Ball go on this one first.
Well, for my lights, with the Viper Spectras, they do have 3 red bulbs or red LEDs in there. On my smaller nano tank upstairs, I have an AI Prime, and I keep my red spectrum on about 2 or 3% just to give it. But I'm not going to say that I know why. You know, I kind of went along with the spectrum that was preset from AI Prime, and with the Viper Spectres, you don't really have any choice. They're just on there. But you know, from researching stuff like that on YouTube and some of the forums like Reef to Reef and stuff, it's such a mixed bag of answers that I don't know if anybody really knows whether you should have it or not have it.
Hmm.
I know I have it in my refugium.
Yep.
And it grows Cato like it's going out of style.
For sure.
I would tend to agree with that. There's a lot of, it will definitely help algae grow, but at the same time, that's technically what you're doing with photosynthetic organisms of any kind, is they're trying to get that zooxanthellae going. So I always say it can't hurt anything, but you know, just you got to observation is what it comes down to. I will say, if you're looking to look at your tank at night and see what's going on with your own eyes, red is a color that's most organisms in our reef tanks can't see. Some of them can. But if you want to do nighttime observation, that's a good way to do it too, is to keep the reds on. So, but yeah, I usually have it in the mix. Whatever, because at the Radions I was just doing AB plus, and I think there is still some red in there with that. So, but you just don't want it to overwhelm the way things look.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never found anything that said it did harm, other than it does help algae to grow. And I figure that anyone who's any of the manufacturers that have done the research for their lights, they put it in there for a reason. So there must be some benefit to it if you have it at the right levels. And having said that, though, the very first black box light I ever had was a D-Sunny, and it only had blue and white. And that thing was amazing how well it grew my coral, and how wonderful it looked when I did videos. That light had absolutely the best video rendering that was accurate to what you were actually seeing of any light I've ever had. I never had to mess around with it to get that. But the other part of it is red being a not visible spectrum. I don't know if it's filtered out by water. I keep a lot of blues because that's the color of light that the corals get from the sunlight as it filters through the water. I've never looked into whether red is in that category as well, whether it also filters through the water. It's just we can't see it. And so maybe it would benefit coral itself to have some amount of red. So yeah, that's a really good question. And I guess the other part of it for me is I don't feel like I've ever gotten a tank to the point where that was a tweak that I felt I needed to make to get it better. Because I'm always still trying to get everything balanced and working. And I've never ever reached the point where it's been, okay, it's all really good. I wonder what'll happen if I add red to the spectrum, because I've never reached that point. So it would be really interesting to find that out. Oh, good question. Red spectrum is good, but not appealing to the eye. David H. Hey, David H. 1904. Welcome. Mr. DKH, nothing wrong with it. Depends on the individual. Yeah. White still has red. Yeah, you're right. White light, because it's the whole spectrum that creates white. Or at the very least, they've added it because they thought someone else had a very good reason to include it. Exactly.
Like it could be, you know, when you see the the LEDs in demo mode and they're flashing through all the disco colors, and
Yeah.
you know, it could be someone that goes, "What do you mean you left red out? You can't do that."
Gotta have that shimmer.
Seriously, I would walk into the fish room at the other house when the Red Sea was running and the Kessel AP700 was on it. I would walk in and everything would be green, all under green light. At like randomly at 1 o'clock in the morning, it would all be under green light for like a few seconds, and then it would disappear. So I don't know if it was doing some secret overnight cycling to make sure everything actually worked or what. Because I used to get random lightning and thunderstorms when I was in there with the flashlight. All of a sudden the lights would come on and then they'd start flashing. I never set that because it's kind of a gimmick. I know some people like it and that's good, but it never really was anything I felt I needed. So who knows, right?
Yeah, I start seeing that stuff. I'm going to be like, what the heck is this? Why is it doing that?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I went through it a little bit with the Kessels because here, well, let's do this comment first. I've been hearing from other discussions, red's not a good light source over corals. It's debatable, but why would they have that option on our LED light fixtures? Yeah, probably what Alex said, because somebody else did it. It seemed like a good idea.
Yeah,
But it's
such an easy thing to add in there too, for a couple bucks more. Hey, throw red on there.
Mm-hmm.
That way, if somebody want, like I said, like nighttime observations, or someone's just trying to get that look with something, they'll blend a little red in there to give it the tone more.
Yeah, it's so hard to say, and lighting is so subjective. And as much as we try and make it objective by measuring PAR, looking at spectrum, Telegram, I love how he takes everything apart and actually checks it out. We get all that information, and then we have to decide how to interpret it and what to do with it, how it applies to our own situation, and whether it actually matters. And if it matters to you, then it's a good reason to look into it. If it's never occurred to you to wonder about it, then maybe just don't think about it.
And so something else too. I mean, if you're ever really interested in it, is try to go and find some, peer-reviewed research papers on different spectrums of light and their effects on corals. Because there's a chance someone's done it, and there might be a free paper out there. I know a lot of things that I've been looking at with certain topics related to like UV and for nitrate and phosphates and things like that. I've always tried to go and look at scientific studies out there to see if someone's had an experiment and tested a hypothesis on something to give you some valuable information.
Yeah, that's like Reef Man did a video about the effects of light pollution. And ever since then, I have left my tanks in black overnight. There is ambient light from controllers and stuff like that are outside the tank. Before that, I used to have what they call moonlight. And it's kind of cool to go in and see it. But after I watched his video and looked into it a little bit, I made the decision to just leave it black. And I've done that ever since.
See, now when you go down there and pitch black, you can look for bioluminescence at night.
Yep. Once I put the black curtain over all the controller boards, it looked like it's in the cockpit of an airplane.
Oh, electrical tape is your friend.
Yeah.
I had a number of people that commented on that in my last house.
Yep.
Because they'd be like, why do you have black electrical tape over everything? And I'd be like, oh, because I come down here at night and I need it pitch black.
I remember that discussion, and sometimes I reach in and poke things with a stick.
Yeah, you got to have your poking stick. Even the bioluminescent scientists that I watch some of their stuff, they're like, yeah, we do that too. We poke things to see if we can make them light up because we don't know what makes them react.
Yeah. Marcus's Reef, the thunderstorm bit is funny. Nobody uses that. Not that I know. I know, right? Why? Why would you care? Like, why would you do that? Talk about freaking out your fish. Yeah, probably. It's a gimmick. It's such a gimmick. maybe that's just because I'm such an anti-gimmick person. I have such sensitive radar for hype and gimmicks that I'll turn and run the other way if I suspect that's what's going on.
Yeah, and not to mention if somebody has like epilepsy or something, I'm sure the thunderstorm mode on an
Yeah.
LED is the last thing that they need in their life.
You'd be twitching on the floor if that happened while you were in there. Definitely. Oh, and diacanthus. So xanthelle clay, coral distribution, and coral carotenoid spectrum are fun ones to dig into. Yep. And I guess I mean even coral distribution, that can be depth underwater. And come on, let's face it, we're never going to get our corals 3 meters underwater, which is where they would naturally be. So it's we're not doing anything natural. It's completely artificial. We're doing our best to make it maybe look natural, to match natural conditions if we can, to whatever degree we can, in order to enhance the life of our livestock. But in no way is any of it natural. So, you know, I guess it's one of those things where the more information, the better. But at some point, you got to stop, or you drive yourself crazy.
Every time I'm looking at those chromis swimming around at Cue Balls Reef, I'm just thinking, I'm like, you know, it's been a long time since I've had a group of chromis.
Mm-hmm.
And to see them actually having a little bit of a shoaling behavior is a nice thing to see.
Yeah,
I
yeah. And
wish
I don't know
I
if
had
you,
more.
I don't know if you heard earlier. You started with 6. What would you say they were among the first fish you had?
Yes. Yeah.
And how long ago was that?
3 years ago.
Yeah, I was hearing that at the beginning, and yeah, just like it was said too, they do pick each other off at times.
Well, I heard a story and tried to do some research, but didn't find very much. A lot of people that use moonlight settings on their lights, the chromis get more aggressive during or because of the lunar cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And they get very much more territorial because of spawning events and all that kind of stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading all this and I'm thinking, I've never seen these fish be aggressive at all. And I don't know why I lost 2, but these 4, I mean, they're like a wolf pack. They never leave each other's side.
Maybe they're all girls.
Maybe.
Maybe they killed off the boys and went, we're quite happy on our own, thank you. Diacanthus says, I followed Jamie Craig's moonlighting setup. New moon nights are bioluminescent events. Cool. David H. It's to show off for the girls. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, Ryan Shackleton definitely found the sweet spot of my spectrum for my acropora. Nice. And Ryan, what lights are you running? I'm interested in that. Marcus's Reef freaks the fish out for sure. Seems like it could cause unnecessary fish jumping, possibly the opposite of what we want. Yeah, and I could never find out. Oh, hey, Kevin. Hey, Kevin, he's back. I could never find out why it did that. It didn't matter how many times I reset that thunderstorm setting on the app. Didn't matter. It still happened and wasn't regular. It was just every once in a while. Crazy. Broke Reef Man bought 5 green chromis and ended up with 2. Oh, okay, Reef. Sent me mail. Am I sending the wrong one? I'll check right now. Bert Minshew. My flame angel gets crazy, psycho, aggressive under ultra low light. There it is.
I had the same issue with my pajama cardinals. I started off with 5 of those, and within a month, I was down to 1. And
wow.
Could not figure out for the life of me why, but I still have 1.
That I can. So with cardinals, a lot of the time they'll try to form pairs. So if they couldn't form a pair or had competing pairs, they might try to kill each other off. So that's one thing I have seen with cardinals, is that it's pretty common to see them. I put like groups of bang guys or pajamas in together, and they'll do fine when they're smaller, but as they grow up, they tend to pair off, and you'll usually see one become like a third wheel or something and not be allowed near the others, especially if they start spawning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a while back, I remember Billy Pipes had a lot of fish deaths, and he finally determined it was the chromis, because they were in breeding mode and they were basically killing off the rest of his fish. So, and in a small tank, there's not enough room for that.
Yeah, that's one thing I do miss about having actual glass to see fish in is, well, not that I have a lot right now anyways, but as the lights would go down at night, that was always fun to watch the spawning behaviors take place.
Yeah, I used to watch that with my angelfish. It was amazing. And that's one of the reasons that the new tank is going to be set up with the same type of open swimming area, with terraces at the back and lots of open area to swim near the front and in the upper levels of the tank, because they would swim around and around and then through the rocks, and the male would swim on its side, and yeah, it was really cool.
I'm definitely going to try and do something similar with my aquascape, of making it not super tall. I might do a couple higher points this time, but I want to leave a lot of it really open so that there's grow out room for one, but then just a lot of open swimming area for the fish.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things that you learn as you go, right?
Yeah, and I think, it's some of the newer methods that people are doing with cementing things together.
Mm-hmm.
I did it a little bit with my last tank, but kind of like that negative space aquascape kind of look. And I'm going to probably try to go more towards that, just to make it a lot more open swimming areas and hidey holes for everyone.
Yeah. Yep. Ryan Shackleton uses the Hydra 32 HD, so an AI light. Oh, cool. Yeah, I decided with the Red Sea tank that, given nothing was natural anyway, I was just going to try and make a symmetrical look. So when you look at it from the front, it was symmetrical, kind of, like pretty close. And it was pleasing to me to look at it and see that, with kind of like a courtyard in the middle. And so this tank's going to be similar to that idea, with my sort of gallery of rocks across the back and curving up the sides a little bit. And then, of course, I have the feature rocks that are the coral skeletons that I'll put in the center. Haven't decided yet whether they'll be with the branches up like this or down into the sand with a pinnacle at the top. I don't quite know. I'm thinking branches up, but we'll see. And just something interesting to look at, with some arches that I'm going to construct out of little pieces of rock, and just places that you can put things like encrusting corals. So you can have one arch completely encrusted with Cyphastria, and another one with like a Leptocerus and Leptastria, and all of those different things that are available to us now. So we'll see what happens. I just want it to be colorful and interesting. So
yeah, I'm gonna take my time aquascaping. I had done a lot of the ideas that I wanted in my last tanks. The REEF tank, not quite as much, just because it was a little shallower and there just wasn't as much room to work. But I'm going to take a much different approach this time on that.
Yeah.
Because the display tank will be taller, but it won't be as tall as the 700. That's a little too tall.
Yeah. Yeah, 30, you said 36 or 34 deep?
It's the water height of the display I'm going to go with it'll be 32 inches tall.
Yeah, that's still way past arm's length. I mean, for most people.
Yeah, and I figure with, with sand and the tile on the bottom, it'll take a little bit off of that too. But a lot of my bottom, I don't know if I'm going to have. I think I might take a different approach to like bottom dwelling corals this time too.
Yep.
And I thought about it in my last tank, and in this one I think I'll do it, was that to make some sandy tray areas like elevated a little bit.
Uh-huh.
So that way I could put some sand there for some bottom dwelling corals and have them at a more accessible height, so I'm not trying to go for a swim.
Yeah. Well,
to rearrange.
you know how people use those big armor rocks to build raised gardens and areas of lawn if they've got a slope? When I was first thinking of getting garden eels, which I've been forbidden because everybody finds them creepy, and I would never be able to find a tank sitter. But anyway, my thought was to create one area of the tank with like blocks of rocks and make like a terrace and put sand behind that, so that you would have like a wall in a kind of an interesting shape that would be holding up this sand, and then have them living in there, and then have the rest be more shallow. And I thought like that might look really cool.
Same kind of idea. I think the only thing I wanted to do is put the sand in like an acrylic tray or something.
Yep.
So that way it has something that'll hold it in place a little bit better.
Yeah, and it becomes removable if you should ever have to take it out. Yeah, cool. We just had K-Reef Aquarium Hobby pop in. Everybody want to say hi to Kevin?
Sure.
Yeah.
Has Cue Ball been in here before? Did you ask a troll question?
No, I didn't. I'm so like nervous about doing this. I forgot. I totally forgot.
Sorry, Cue Ball, I had to do it.
Kevin's been in before though, so maybe we'll bring Kevin in and then we'll ask Cue Balls a troll question. I gotta find my notes to see if I still actually have them on here. Nah, never mind. I can think of one.
Oh boy, you're putting me on the spot now.
Yep. You never know what it's going to be, but it's not meant to be scary. All right, I'm going to bring Kevin in and say hi. Hey, Kevin, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you. How are all you doing?
Good. You're in your fish room.
Fish room.
Oh
yes.
Boy, I'm going to ask Cue Balls a troll question because I never asked him when he came in today. So then we'll get a tour of your fish room. What time is it there for you? About 8 o'clock, 8:30?
Yeah, it's 8:30.
8:30. Cool. Okay, Cue Balls. So here's your troll question.
Oh boy.
Now, you don't have to give me a dollar amount, but do you know within $100 how much you've spent on your hobby in the last year? Like, do you actually know?
God, I hope my wife isn't watching.
It's a yes or no question.
Yes.
You do? Cool. Okay. Because most people don't. So good for you.
Well, like I said at the beginning, I've been trying to be as budget friendly to myself as possible. So yeah, I keep track.
Yeah. I don't know how much I've spent on the new build. I give all the receipts to my husband, and he's keeping them in a folder. And I'm sure at some point we will go through and sit down and add it all up. But I can tell you that the plumber's bill, excuse me, for 100 feet of PEX, a bunch of fittings, and his time to install, and plus the Grundfos circulating pump was in that bill as well. To come and install all of that was $1,000.
Wow.
I was a little shocked, but when I looked at it, I thought, yeah, and it would have cost us way more to do it ourselves, because the PEX, for example, he charges $77, and the best price I could get for PEX from any of the big boxes was like, I don't know, 150. So Anyway, thanks, cue balls. So let's talk to K-Reef. Kevin. Kevin is
Hi.
in the Netherlands.
Yeah, in the Netherlands.
And
So-
you just built this fish room.
Yeah, so a while ago, in the start of this year, in January, we moved to the new house. So we had to have something to accommodate our fish and coral during the new tank build, of course. So we can take a look later at the new tank.
Yeah, it's the
maybe.
new tank. The tank is in the house, right?
That's in the house, yeah.
And it's a beautiful peninsula.
Yeah,
I've
it
seen-
is. I love it.
Cool.
So I can, I don't know if I can turn my camera on this one. I don't know. Is it possible? With the phone, someone knows if I can turn it?
If you go into the cam mic,
Yeah.
and then you should have a drop down to change the camera.
Yeah, facing. That's going wrong, I think.
Yeah, we still see you.
Facing back.
Oh, we lost him. Every once in a while.
I think he hit the. I should have warned him and said, "Don't hit the X in there. You gotta hit the back button." There you go. Bye-bye.
Well, he'll come back, I'm sure. Yeah, the glasses. I would have used the pineapple glasses if I would have thought of putting them on. These are good.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, isn't that great? They're the troll glasses.
I got to get myself a pair of them.
Yep, Amazon. There's like, I think for $20, I got, I don't know, 15 different ones.
Hey, they look like they got yellow lenses in them too. So
They do, but look at these. Yeah.
That I think the pineapple ones, if it's got the right tone on it, you can go to when we can actually go to coral shows again. You can walk around with those.
I could, and I could prove it to everybody what a weirdo I am.
It's not
here's
weird. I mean, I'm wearing a Megatron T-shirt.
That looks like
Megatron. Nothing weird here. So yeah, that didn't work. I don't know what happened. I changed the camera and I disappeared. So I would just go like this. Yeah.
Okay. Alex said there's a little X right nearby that if you touch that, it kicks you out. So.
Yeah, I went into cam mic and I got 5 choices: front, 2 of front and 3 of back, and 2 camera or 4 camera. I don't know.
It's too hard. It's like buying pantyhose. I don't need 3,000 choices of pantyhose. It just overwhelming.
I know I had that trouble last week.
With the pantyhose or the camera?
Yeah. With the pantyhose.
I don't have to worry about that anymore though, because I don't have to go to an office. So it's pretty awesome. So
yeah.
Sorry.
So yeah, we built this. It's a wooden. What is it? How you call it? Garden?
A shed. So this is an actual shed building outside in the backyard of your back garden of your house.
Yeah,
right.
That's it.
And how many square feet is it? Or square meters?
Square meter. It's 4 by 4, so the 20.
Oh, nice.
So that's
nice.
It's quite nice.
That's decent.
Because if you see this tank, that's a 2 meters tank.
Ooh, yeah.
That's empty still, of course. And this one is 150.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're standing next to each other. I have even some space. So
cool.
So, but it's so we started in this one. Now it's just some leftover rocks and stuff from my old tank, and there are just 2 fish left in there. Because I don't know, maybe know Cindy, but I had bad luck moving the fish. They most of them got sick in this tank and died, so I lost 22 fish. Yeah,
but it's devastating.
Yeah, I hated it. It was.
I know the feeling because that happened to me a few months ago.
Yeah.
And I knew the risk was with how you call it, powder brown tang I had, the Japonicus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I knew he was always really sensitive for ick and stuff like that, and I thought, yeah, but I had him already 4 years now, so let's just let him. I put him in there, and it must be okay. But no, he got too much stressed, and yeah, then it was actually, I think it was already too late to take him out and put him separately in another tank where also are some other fish. So then I would risk maybe to get those fish also sick, because all the other ones here, they got it too. And I think it went over from ick to Brooklynella or something like that from stress. And yeah, I don't know if it's bad water quality, because everything was new fresh water. The rocks were cured because they were for around 4 or 5 years in my other tank, so they were okay. So I don't know. Yeah, it was bad.
So there was nothing you could have done differently, right? Like,
yeah, I could. Maybe I could have just set up a separate quarantine tank for him, because I knew that he was sensitive for it.
Oh, I see. And put him in before you right away. Put him in right away.
Yeah, put him right away separately from the other ones, because But yeah, we have one hippo tang in here, my hippo tang, and then one 6-line wrasse, and many of the small starfish. Yeah.
So what is your plan then? Do you have fish in the inside tank yet?
No. So there is one yellow tang in here that will go into the big one.
Yep.
And I have one more Darwin clown. The female, the male, I also lost. I don't know where it went. It was in the tank here. We searched for it, but maybe the crabs or something ate it when it died. Then my 2 clowns from the old 750-liter tank are in here with their home. So they will also go back in the house, in the new tank.
Is that a torch that they're in, or an anemone?
There's a torch.
A torch, I thought so.
Yeah, it was 4 times bigger, maybe 5 times bigger. But I fragged it when we moved. It was really, really big. I couldn't fit it in here in this tank, so I fragged it. And, yeah.
Hey, Skinner JW, let's have a pantyhose live stream. Yeah.
Pantyhose. So here I just have some frag tanks with corals, leftovers. I don't know. It's really blue now.
Well, wait a minute. I can put my yellow pineapple glasses on and see if it works.
See if I can.
I can tell you whether it works or not.
Okay.
That makes all the difference.
Try it.
Aim down a little more. Oh my God, it does. Seriously.
Really?
It works. It does. Well, I mean, these do work. If you're looking at someone even on a video with blue lights, you put the orange glasses on and you can see the colors.
Okay.
So they work.
I have a yellow filter here. See if I can put it off.
Yeah, these are the yellow lenses, you can see.
Okay, is that better?
That is better. We can see way more color.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
So I just have some.
I'm gonna make you full screen.
Montiporas. My Duncan colony is there. It's all for the new tank. I saved Cyphastria and Favia.
That's a nice looking Favia.
Yeah.
Is it a Favia or is it a maize brain?
Favia. It's the what is it? Dragon soul Favia.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So only under this lights I don't know, maybe it's the lights, but I think it's because of the lights. It's changed a little bit color. With in the other tank, it had more color.
Mm.
but here
Yeah,
I have,
sometimes they just take a while to get used to their new environment, I
yeah,
think. Oh, nice hammer.
yeah, that's a nice one. I love it. I bought it last year, one hit, and it's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Nice. And is that a purple tang you got there?
Yeah, this one was from a friend of mine. His actually his whole tank crashed, and yeah, the fish all got sick. And this one was beaten, had ick it all over his body. It was really bad. So that was the only one still alive in that tank. I took it home with me, put it in a quarantine tank, and I just prayed if it would survive. The fins were almost all damaged. The tail was almost gone. And now it's a really, yeah, I have it for more than a year now, separately in a tank, and now it's really beautiful, the tank.
Looks healthy.
Yeah, it's really, I feed him with my with the fingers sometimes, but I don't know if he's coming now.
Mm.
I'm holding the camera, you know, fish and the camera.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So Kevin, what's it like when you set up a reef tank in the Netherlands? What kind of retail do you have available to buy all of the stuff you would need?
Yeah. You mean which brands and stuff, or?
Yeah, or do you have like local fish stores, or do people mostly order online, or what's your experience there?
Well, yeah, most people, we have local fish stores, but the hobby is quite small here. So what in my experience, there are some stores really specialized, only saltwater. Most people try to go there, but sometimes we have to drive like 2-3 hours to get there. Lots of online shopping is done also. And yeah, when I started with a YouTube channel, I got really good reactions on it, because they said finally we have someone doing it also in Dutch, and maybe can help also. So yeah, we are also now fully busy. Me and my wife, she's gonna jump in with me to.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so the K Reef name is now a company. So
That's cool.
yeah, building a website and a web shop and a store, because I have a really big barn here outside, and that is going to be demolished, and is going to be build a new one twice as big as it is now.
Cool.
And there will be a store and stuff, but that's something for, I hope it be finished next year somewhere. But
yeah.
So, but yeah, we have most of the brands you are all using also. Only I notice starting a reef tank here is done differently. Most of the times they are more like, yeah, but we did it like this 20 years ago, so it's still, you need to do it like this, you know.
Yeah.
I think they also, because, yeah, the community is not so big here, you know, and social media and everything, so they stay living in the same. It's not that it's bad, but we have so many, you know, they say you need 10 kilos rock for every 100 liters water. But now these days, all the biological media you can get to put in your sump, you know, you don't need that much rock anymore.
Well, my Red Sea tank, I only had about 50 pounds of actual live rock. The rest of it was biomedia in the sump, and that was 100 and some gallons, 110 or 12 gallons, and it was fine. It worked.
Yeah, because now we are, and they are also like, they start most start their tanks without their sand bottom in it, because
that's interesting.
Yeah, because they say during the cycle it gets dirty.
I don't know how. But
yeah, so yeah, you get, of course, you get diatoms and stuff on your sand bed, you know.
Yeah, it comes
Cycling.
and goes. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes and goes. So, but they say no. First do the cycling, and then place your sand bottom. If I don't know, I've never done it like that. But yeah, when I started the hobby, I looked for all to learn, and it was all YouTube channels from the States and you, and so I learned it. I did it more your way, I think.
Right.
But we see it's different here, but it's not that it's bad.
We have different equipment available now than there was 20 years ago.
Of course.
Everything, not just lights. It's everything that's now different than it used to be. And I've been in long enough to remember when the only option you had for wave makers in your tank was those wave boxes, and they were like $300 and some, even when that started. And I thought, there's no freaking way I'm going to pay that kind of money to move water in my tank when I only had a 29 gallon. So that's when I found the high door thing, the high door flow. It goes on the return exit, and the pressure of the return water turns the thing around. And I had that thing probably for 5 years before Jabo came along, and you could buy a power head for less than $300. So so many changes, and there are a lot of ways to make things easier. And I sometimes think technology, you can't always trust it, can you?
Oh, I know. Plus, it goes so fast in the last years now.
Yeah.
New technology, new lights, the LEDs that are coming, more and more. And now it gets so hard to choose from.
I agree.
Above my frag tanks, I have the MICMOL.
Yeah. I had a couple of those.
Yeah, and I actually really like them. They give a nice light. They color the corals, and my SPS. It are simple. It's just some Montiporas left here, but they are getting grow tips and everything. But it's a low tank, and the light is. But I don't think they would be strong enough for my new tank. So I made the choice, and now I have some temporarily max spec above that tank just to have some light. But soon I'm going to order myself the new Gen 2 Coral Care films for the new tank.
Well, are you familiar with ReefKeeper? REEFKPR? Keeper? He has
I know him. I was thinking, do you mean a gear or a person? The person I know, I know the channel and
because he uses the Philips Coral Care. And so if there's anything you wanted to know, he's been running it, I think, for almost a year now.
Okay.
Pretty close to it.
The Luc, the guy who invented.
Yeah.
He's Belgium, and I am also from Belgium, so I know him. I know him.
Nice.
So I had contact with him some time ago also.
Cool.
So if you want to go inside, So this is the outside of it's quite big, the fish room.
Oh yeah. A lot of people would kill to have that. Oh
yeah. So let's go in and see if my wife wants to mute the TV for 5 minutes.
Hey, Games Reef Tampa. Glad you could make it. Come around, kid.
Oh, there is nobody here, so that's easy.
She's probably hiding.
Yeah. No, what to go.
If it was me, I'd be in my house coat and my hair would be all stupid. And yeah.
Oh, my arm is not long enough. So that's the new tank.
I love this
canopy.
Yeah. Nice canopy.
So it's built the dimensions that I asked. So I wanted some centimeters from the ceiling, because inside here, later on, I don't know if you can see it, there is a hole in the wall.
Mhm.
There will be air ventilation that is
Yeah.
controllable.
Yeah.
So
That's
it will.
what you did, isn't it, Alec?
Yeah. So it will take the air from above the canopy in and out through that hole into the basement and then outside to have air circulation. Because I don't want to have mushrooms growing on my walls.
No, I don't blame
So,
you.
so everything here is aluminium. So the all you see, the white, it's all aluminium.
Oh, nice.
It's a thin layer aluminium over the frames are just stainless steel.
Mhm.
And then the doors is, it's some kind of compound. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's marine proof.
Mhm.
So it's built by a company in Belgium that I know really good. So they build it there. So the sump is now, it's only some filter floss and the Nios 220 skimmer in there.
Nice. How big is the sump?
It holds 210 liters of water. So,
Right.
but
Good.
this is I forgot the dimensions of the sump.
That's okay. It's the volume, because it makes you wonder.
It's 60. Yeah, it's 60 by what was it? 120 centimeters. So, but it was I calculated when I filled the tank. I filled the sump, and then I could, exactly know how much went into it, and it was 210 liters water.
Look how clean it is.
Yeah, and the tank is running now 5 weeks.
Wow.
So yesterday I placed sand bottom in it, not because of that what I was talking earlier about, because anyway I don't have the lights on that much, and so I'm not scared for algae or brown stuff on the bottom.
Yeah.
But this is the aquaforest sand, and the bio sand, and they with the sand comes bottles of bacteria. You prepare the sand before you put it in. So I had it in a big bucket. I poured all the sand in. You pour all the bacteria in there. You keep it on 25 degrees, and you seed your sand, so it becomes live sand. So I wanted to test that, and that's
that's a really good idea. The live sand I've bought has always been wet in the bag. There's always been moisture inside the bag.
Yeah.
And of course, if you lay the sand in the tank, you have to immediately cover it with water so that you can keep it live.
Yeah.
So it means you can't gradually fill your tank. You pretty much have to get it at least 6 or 8 inches deep so that you can run a power head to keep the water circulating and have a heater, especially if you have to do it in stages because you're making more water or, so what a great idea to do it that way, because when you're ready, you can add it.
Yeah, it's and you can also, if you don't need much, you can do it in the bag. So you rinse it with RODI water first.
Yeah.
I can say there is a lot of dust coming out of it, but that's normal, It's sand, and it's not so. It's quite fine sand also.
Yep.
It's only one size they have. So, and then you put 3 liters of salt water in it, in the bag, actually, and then you pour in the 2 bottles of bacteria, and you let it stand for 24 hours.
Huh. That's cool.
But because they recommend that it needs to be with 25 degrees Celsius, that's why, and I had 5 bags, so that's why I put it in a container and with a heater.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing how it all develops, how it works out.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, I like the rocks. You've got a nice area at the back with lots of spots for fish to go in and out.
Yeah, I try to make as lots much space to place coral, of course, but also try to make caves and some overhangs, hiding spots for fish. The flow can go through it. Also, of course, for the aesthetics. But yeah, I try to do as much as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, most important is also, of course, the flow going through it. There's not much flow in the tank, it's just the return. But the return is actually pushing away this sand here in the corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's going, it's 185 centimeters, this tank long.
Holy smokes. What's the volume?
It's around 260 gallon, the whole system, but the tank is the tank is 980 liters.
Right. So
And
around
then,
50, yeah.
yeah, and then the sum 210, so it will be around, yeah, what is it, 260 gallon.
Cool.
I calculated once because when I make videos in English, I try to put it in gallons because most of people are from US watching.
Yeah.
So
You never know. We did have somebody stop in earlier from Brazil, a couple people from the UK.
okay.
So yeah, it's cool.
So on this side, it's fully closed, you see.
Yep.
And actually, they made it really nice because you place the canopy on top and you almost don't see. You see it a little bit, you know, but it fits really cool.
Yeah.
Really
The
nice.
finish looks beautiful.
Yeah. So now, of course, people ask me, yeah, but how are you gonna do when you need to be on this side of the tank, you know, coral placement or stuff like that? But I can. The whole top slides towards the front to the wall there. So,
Okay. Yeah.
so I can just slide it open all the way. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
If needed.
Yep.
So, and there is coming because inside here it's not finished yet. So on the top you see one bracing there. So there comes extra bracing, and there will be an electrical winch, and then there comes a frame where the lights will be in.
Oh,
and
nice.
then I can, because it's high, it's really high, but the lights will be around 15 centimeters from the water.
Yeah.
So I can lift them with the winch, the whole frame up to work in the tank.
Nice. And is that built by the tank builder for you?
No, that's I'm building myself.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, Tony Close UK says spectacular build, both the shed and the main display.
Thank you.
That's really nice.
Yeah. So I had a lot of help from the tank builder with this one. They did a really good job. It's a company from Belgium. They're really nice. Really happy with it.
Beautiful. And where is it in your house?
It's in the living area.
Yeah.
So I can. It's not finished there. We are still building here in the house, but so we have the TV and a lounge. The seat. My wife is there.
Yep.
So, and then we can go, through here, and then we will go. Then you go to the kitchen.
Oh, nice. Yep.
So
that's awesome. So you can see it from a lot of the house, which is really nice.
Yeah, because I can, when I'm sitting here on the table eating, look, I can also see the tank.
Yeah.
So here's that's the basement. It's still a mess, but here will also come a lot of equipment and for the electrical stuff and power. So I made sure when I rebuilt this house that the fish tank has its own how you say that, group?
Its own electrical fuse?
Yeah, it's
circuit.
So, yeah,
Circuit?
its own circuit. So it yeah, it's all separate from the house,
Yeah.
so nothing can happen with it if we. And also the garden shed has even its own all group with fuses and.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the power that you have there is it 220, 240, 220?
220 to 240, yeah.
So that, I guess that when you're buying equipment and everything, then it means that the European brands, do a lot of them that are built in Europe supply North American electrical connections, or like, is it something that you have to watch for when you buy things? Like, if we're thinking, I'm in Canada,
Mhm.
it's easier for me to bring things in from the UK and Europe than it is from the States.
Oh, okay.
And so sometimes, of course, you have to watch the electrical component of it. So I'm guessing that they must have some way to supply all the different countries. I don't know if Europe is on one common type of plug, or if you
Most,
need.
yeah, Europe
Yeah.
is most the same. It's actually the same plug.
Is it? Yeah.
And sometimes when we order stuff, and if I order from China, for instance, we
Yeah.
really need to look and choose the right
Yes.
plug,
Yes.
because even if some of the lights you buy, even if they have a US plug, for instance, I can buy an adapter for that plug. That's no problem. But the problem is that the lights are not always for 220 volts then.
Exactly. Yeah. I
So,
ran into that with a power head. I bought a double power head, two power heads facing slightly apart on one mount, and the picture showed a North American plug. When I got it, it was a North American plug, but it was 220 volts.
yeah.
So I plugged it in, and the noise that it made was unreal. I was afraid to touch it. And so I unplugged it and I started looking at it, and then I saw the 220 volts on the sticker on the back.
Yeah.
And I thought, why would they put a North American plug?
Yeah, that's crazy.
On it? And so you really do have to be careful. And so now anytime I buy anything electrical, let's say on Amazon, and if it's shipped from China, it's pretty rare these days that I do that. But every once in a while, you don't realize that what you're buying will be shipped from China. First thing I do when I get it is that's what I check, because you just don't know.
Yeah, but if we order something here, of course, we always get the right stuff. And if it's within Europe, it's no problem. But the only things, like, I sometimes buy Wish or stuff, is, these small power heads to that I use them to mix some, if I need a little bit of salt water, to mix them in a small bucket, or in my sumps, I sometimes, you have some dead spots in your sump. If you have some biofiltration in there, I used just a small, it costs what, $4 or $5.
Yeah.
And okay, you need an adapter for it because it never is the right plug. But it's, for me, then I really take good look. If it's 220, okay, it's 220. I buy an adapter, and that also costs €1 for 4 of them. So
exactly.
And I use them. They are small, they're easy. It's just, you can place them everywhere if you have some dead spots, and that's why I use them. Because here, if you try to find in the stores here just a small, simple, uncontrollable power head, you don't find them here. It's crazy.
It's one of those things that the old school guys never had available to them. And so a lot of people might not see a reason to use something like that because they found another solution.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's strange. If you want to use it in a tank as power head, then I think you need to have, like, it's just suitable for a tank from maybe 30 or 40 liters water, just a really small tank, and then it's an awesome little power head for it. Okay, you cannot control it, but for me, it's just, I use it for dead spots, or mix a small bucket of salt water.
Yeah,
really
you
handy.
don't always need it to be variable. You know,
No,
sometimes just moving the water is all you really
is
need.
enough. Yeah, I in like a quarantine tank. I also use them in there. Uh, you don't need to have mass flow in there. Just a little bit of flow is enough. And
Yep.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So that was a small tour in the Netherlands.
So when did you start this build? Wasn't it like it was summer 2019 when you actually moved, or were you working on the transaction to buy your house? I know you had a
Yeah,
little bit of up and down back then
yeah.
with
So with the Corona also,
uh,
it delayed a lot of stuff. So we bought the house in April 2020.
hmm?
So a lot of stuff got delayed, ordering, because then just it all started with the coronavirus. But the tank was already built at that point. They started building the tank at that point. So, and I asked them, if it was possible to keep it in storage. So they did for a while, but they were really busy, and so suddenly they called me. It was in September, I think. Yeah, Kevin, I'm sorry, but we really need to have the space. So we need to take your tank out and deliver it to you. So the living room was far from finished. So but anyway, we placed the tank because I didn't dare to place it outside in the barn where there's it's all there's no
No.
protection. So we put it in the living room. We protected it with plastic and as much as we could during the rebuilding of the house. But it worked. So I already have it for some months.
Yeah.
But it was in January we moved, and I think I started filling it last month with water. But
And
I'm taking it really slow.
Oh yeah, I know the feeling. There's no point in rushing.
No, I have everything here, and no rush, no stress.
Yep. And how old is the house that you rebuilt? Is it because it was an old house, or it just needed to be changed?
Yeah, so where we lived first was actually in the center of the village here.
Yep.
And now we just moved like 2 streets
Oh yeah.
to the outside of and it was an old pig farm. Yeah. So
Yep.
and the house is from 1958.
Okay.
Yeah. So but it is a strong foundation, strong house. There was one part that was built on it in 1992, and that was bad. The original house was good, but that part was bad. I don't know who, some cheap guy must have built it, because we had to demolish the whole back wall, the brick wall, and rebuild it again, because it was full of cracks, and there were above the windows, they had nothing to support the brick wall that were on top of the windows, so no concrete bracing or something.
Yeah.
So it all was broken, and it was a lot of work. Actually, then the kitchen we built on, so that's a new part on the house. So we had to also put beams, metal beams, wooden beams in there to make a hole in the back wall from the house, of course, and support it. So only the walls. We stripped the whole house, roof, everything came off, the electrical, heating, water pipes, all is new. It's actually just a new house. Yeah.
Wow. And did you do most of that yourself?
Everything. And my father-in-law also helped me, but most things I did all myself. Electrical, water, heating. Yeah. It saves a lot of money. It takes more time, but it saves a really lot of money.
Oh yeah. And if you're handy like that and you can do it, Do you?
Yeah.
I would guess you would have to have it inspected periodically as you go through it. Did you add any sort of extra support for the tank in the house?
There was a concrete flooring.
Mhm.
Under the floor there was concrete, so there was actually, this is maybe a funny story. So the flooring in here, that was the flooring that was in the living room of the house.
Oh.
So I reused it here. It's parquet, we say, it's
Yeah.
wood, and
Yeah.
they're really thick. But so when we took it away, we saw that there was a really big concrete slab, how you say that,
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah.
So we measured it because towards the kitchen it became sand under the floors. But so we measured how thick it was, and then we let it calculate, and then they said it was no problem at all to
To
for the
support
tank weight,
tank.
to support
Oh,
the tank.
nice. That's cool.
Because there is underneath there is no basement or something, so it's just so
Yeah.
that was good. So we didn't have to do anything there on the two extra support.
Nice. Yeah, it's one of those things that you have a chance to do something, it means a lot of work, but when you're finished, it'll be what you want.
Yeah, we could. When we were we wanted to rebuild actually our other house, and build some extra rooms, because my two oldest children, they're living with their mother, but they come every 14 days. So, and they need separate rooms, but we needed to pay for a new to have a new loan to rebuild the house. We needed to pay like around 50,000, if I calculate fast, dollars.
Oh my goodness.
On how you say that, a fine, because you say up your old mortgage and you want to have a new one. Because
a penalty, a refinancing.
because when I bought the old house, it was like 6.2% in rent, and now the rent was down to 1.7%.
Yeah. So they don't want to lose all the income they're making from you on the 6.25%.
Yeah. So I had to pay. So then I said to my wife, we're not going to do this. We're going to buy a bigger house with a big room, so I can have my hobby expanding and I can have a bigger tank.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So we searched around because we wanted to stay in the village here. So, and then we found this house. I found this house, but she said to me, "Oh, Kevin, no, so old and ugly. What we gonna do?" And the rooms and I said, but don't look at the house like that. You need to look how it can become. What it can be.
The potential.
Because for us, and we're outside, we have all nature here. Forests for the children. I said, look at that.
That's right. So, how's little Sven doing?
He's great. He's so funny. He starts, potty training and everything, but he don't want to go on the potty. He wants to go on the toilet.
Of course.
Of course, because he starts, speaking goes really well now. He's really smart, too smart actually for us.
Scary.
Oh,
so
it's crazy.
He's what, 2.5 now?
Yeah. Oh, you good memory.
Yeah, he's a little cutie. I remember pictures you had of him propped up on the sofa looking at the fish tank.
Oh, that
just
one.
An infant,
Yeah, but now he's a really, little boy.
Nice. Oh, that's cool. Good.
I'll share, maybe in a few days, I'll share a nice picture of him on Instagram.
Yeah. No, that's nice. Well, it's so good to see where you are at this point, because I had known that there was a lot of changes that were going on, And then just recently I saw the pictures you put up on Insta of the inside tank, the Peninsula, and I went, now I get it. You've got the outside for the work part of it and the inside for the play part of it.
Yep, that's it. So that's why, but I don't want to go outside too fast with everything. Yeah, I start a company. It's so much work. Yeah, setting up the web shop it's crazy. All products, all text, all pictures, all pricing. It's crazy how much work goes into it. So yeah.
I know what you mean. And, you have to be ready for success, because there's nothing worse than if you go live and you get an overwhelming response and you can't
handle it,
can't react to it. And then people start losing their goodwill because you can't, like, it's a really, really tough thing. I've been through it once or twice with businesses, and, especially if hobbyists where you are, they're looking for something new all the time. We all are. We're always looking for something new. So I hope that goes well. I could see the potential.
Yeah, it wasn't my first intention, to start a company, because it's the hobby. But I got so many questions in the last year or more than a year from people who are following me and people in the hobby. Why don't you start something? You already have a name.
Yeah.
And
a following.
I'm so close to to a lot of big cities in the Netherlands, but also in Belgium, because I live just 5 minutes from the border of Belgium.
Right.
So people in Antwerp, people in Ghent, people in Rotterdam or Amsterdam is just 1-2 hours. It's crazy. I'm in the middle of it, So they say, why don't you start something? Then we don't need to drive so far to and we trust you. And I say, but it's not so simple to just say, okay, let's do it. Just let's start a business.
I know it's not simple if you want to do it right.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that would just jump in because somebody says, oh, this is a good idea, you should do it, and they would just jump in. And before you know it, they're facing problems because they didn't take their time. And it's like having a reef tank. If you take your time and make the right decisions, because you've taken your time and taken all the information in and got prepared, then you're much less likely to have really, really bad problems. But there will always be something, but you're way more likely to have a good level of success that you can overcome the problems and keep moving on. So I don't think it ever hurts to have all your ducks in a row, as they say. Before you jump in.
I always say keep your feet on the ground, I think it is a great idea, and I want to go for it 100%. That's not it. And I'm happy because my wife, Linda, she also wants to go help and jump into it. So that's fun if you can do it both, that helps a lot. But, I also have my daily job, of course, still, and my wife also has that. So, and then rebuilding everything here, and now planning everything for the new barn and store for the whole. It's a whole new building, just and of course it also costs money, so I need to get it financed, and I want to not overdo it, because like I said, I have my daily job, and I do many hours there also, so it's not always too simple to combine the two, so that's why I do it slow. And
do you still travel a lot for your job?
But most it's then it's in Belgium, then the Netherlands. We now soon I have to go to Germany probably for some weeks. So that doesn't make it so easy either. So that's why I say we prepare everything slow. People can already order some stuff at me, people that know me, but I don't want to take everyone at this time, because that's not possible. And
But it's
But
a good opportunity even to use
yeah,
those customers to test your
yeah,
website when the time comes too, if they
yeah, and
know
it's
you.
just yeah,
Yeah,
it goes slow. You know, I don't have to open this year. For me, it can also be next year if I'm sure that everything will go well and yeah, and we you know, you need to earn enough money also to, because then someday I will need to take the step to go from my daily job to my new job, my
yeah,
hobby job. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
As to yeah, otherwise it will not work. But then you need to be sure that the bills can be paid, you know.
That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So,
it's always risky.
yeah, I'm really excited for it, but I don't let it overwhelm me and just keep the feet on the ground.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's the key. Oh, that's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah, what
Hey,
a hobby can do to a person, huh?
yeah,
Or
I know.
to a person's life.
Yeah. Good luck, Kevin. Follow your dream. That's from Tony Close, UK.
Thank you very much, Tony. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
you too.
I've
They are
done
not
the
so far from us.
I've done the hobby into a business thing before with my other hobby, and um, it was a lot of ups and downs. I had a partner, then I didn't have a partner, then I did it from my home, and then I did it from an office, and then from my home, and then from another office, and it was about 10 years, I think. And at one point, I did have two part-time employees, and it was the only thing I did. But that was right when everybody, this was in, I sold that business in 2001. And that was right when everybody wanted you to have a website.
Yeah,
Because believe it or not, before then, websites were really optional. You didn't, as long as you had email and ways to stay in touch, websites were the exception rather than the rule, but they were starting to become towards the rule where your customers were demanding that you had a website. And I published a magazine 4 times a year. And my question was always, okay, if I get a website, what will it give you that my magazine can't? And their answer was, we could chat with each other. And look what we're doing now. So that was really the direction it was headed. But I was on my own at that point. I couldn't even imagine being able to set up a website because back then it was very expensive. I mean, it's still expensive, but there was not the same technology as far as apps and everything goes to construct a website using a template. You pretty much had to hire somebody,
yeah,
tell what you wanted, like it could cost thousands upon thousands of dollars to set up something simple. And if you remember back then, it was like a white background with black text on it. That's what
yeah.
websites were like.
That yeah,
There was hardly any pictures. Then there would be this really heavy blue text with a line underneath, and you knew that was a link. Like
yeah.
that was
That
what they
I
were
can
doing.
click it. Yeah,
Yeah. And the money they cost to set up was huge because you had to have a name, you had to find somewhere to host it. Like it was just, I just couldn't face it. I just could not think about even doing it. And so I sold the business and just kind of moved on from there. But it is not easy to turn a hobby into a business. It
no,
hasn't changed my attitude towards the hobby, but it really is a different focus when it's a business,
yeah.
for
And
sure.
that's why I some people ask me, yeah, but aren't you scared if you start a business that you're gonna look differently at the hobby, or that it's not going to be a hobby anymore, that it's just going to be yeah, it's daily work. But I don't know. I love the hobby so much, you know. I like to be with these tanks and the corals and the fish and everything. Yeah, I don't think if I will ever, yeah, never say never, but I don't think I will get bored or say, oh, now I need to go to my job. I don't know.
Yeah.
I step outside my door and am at my work. So what's the problem? Oh,
I'll tell you the part of it that gets tedious is shipping
yeah,
and packaging for shipping. And in my case, I had 4 times a year, I had to prepare mailing to like 3,000 people. And once I didn't have a partner anymore, I learned, because she did the finances, I did the creative. I learned how much money she was spending on stupid stuff, and I streamlined everything. And when she was in charge, we would put stamps on every catalog envelope to mail out our magazine after it was printed. And when I took over, I changed to mass mailing through the post office, and the money I saved was incredible.
Oh,
And that was the kind of thing that was difficult, because there was a lot of coordination. I had to learn a whole new way of doing mailing. We had other things. We sold merchandise, and so that all had to be packed up and shipped out. And that becomes difficult, because especially if you're the only person doing it.
Yeah, if you need to do it alone, yeah,
and you get a lot of orders. So I hired my daughter. That was her high school part-time job.
Okay.
And I hired somebody that I used to work for, because she was retiring and she knew about the business and the hobby and everything. And so just temporarily here and there, every 4 times a year, I would get my daughter to get 4 or 5 of her friends, and they'd come over, and I'd pay them a bunch of money each, and we'd get pizza, and they would put all the magazines in the envelopes.
Yeah, awesome.
So, we figured out a way to do it, but it was challenging. That part of it was really challenging. Yeah.
Yeah, but that makes, I think it makes you go, makes you also stronger if it is a little bit challenging.
Yep.
You know?
It does. Makes you learn things.
Yeah. Because now, my wife, she doesn't know much about coral or fish, so she will do the mailing, packaging, she will actually administration and stuff like that,
Yeah.
So, but that's awesome that she wants to do that, because it takes a lot of work from my hands that I can use to help the customers to maintain the tanks and everything, and yeah. So it's important that you have people that you can rely on, because you cannot do it alone.
No.
If you want to have a good company or a business, you cannot do it alone. Yeah, if you rent yourself out, if I just stay a crane driver like I am now, I can also do my own company and just rent myself out as a crane driver. That's something you can easily do alone. You understand me? But
you show up, you're the driver.
Yeah. Okay, I'm here. Okay, thank you. And here's the receipt. Pay me, for the day.
Exactly.
And that's it. But this is, something like this you can't do alone. No. So, and I have a good friend that told me, when you are that far and you need help, I can always come help for maintenance or stuff.
Sure.
So that's good. And, my father and my father-in-law, they are both retired. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and they said, but if you need to have stuff driving around or stuff like that, we can do that for you. And so it's allowed, it's not that I'm gonna get problems, because you can.
That's
so
cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's it's I think the other business that's really been successful, a Fish of Hex.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks a little bit on live streams what it's like to have a business when people ask him questions.
Yeah, I follow it.
Yeah. So you might have heard some of what he said about that. So
yeah.
3D printing seems to be where it's at.
Yeah, it's crazy, because I have a friend of mine, ReefGrrl Designs. He started doing a lot of in acrylic, frag racks, and some years ago, frag racks and stuff, whole cabinets, and in the Netherlands. He makes really, really, really nice stuff. But now he also started 3D printing, and I saw him, and he said to me, "It's crazy. The 3D printing is the future." He said, "It's not normal." I started with 2 printers, and he said, "Now I have a whole line of printers because I can't handle the demand." Yeah.
Well, it's because it's customizable, and it's not like a whole plant has to retool to make a different product. You can make
No.
one different product once you have the electronic files and the design details. You might have to experiment once or twice for different things, but once you got the
And then press
design,
enter.
yeah, exactly. And it's customizable to what that person wants. You need a mount for a power supply that's 4.5 inches.
Yeah.
And you can only get 6 inches. You 3D print one that's 4.5,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he does a lot of stuff, but also a lot for the aquarium business now.
Yeah.
He said it's crazy.
Oh, cool.
And that's also because I think also because of the social media, because
yes.
they see on Instagram fish of Hex or Reef Dudes,
Yeah.
he made this really nice mount for his dosing bottles.
Yep.
How many times do you see them now on Instagram? The same people, they want it. If they don't want to order it, they buy them themselves a 3D printer. They start printing, and something is in here because they share it on Instagram. People ask them, "Can you build one for me? Can you make one for me?" And okay, and a new company is started. But that's how it happens.
Yep.
With these small companies that do this stuff, that's how it happens. I think a lot of them started from sharing what they were making for a hobby. Oh, look what I made for my tank, and look what I made. Oh, can you make one for me? Hey, can you wait? And then then you're on your way.
Yeah, definitely. What's Alex doing? It looks like he's cleaning a skimmer cup.
Good, we can't smell it.
Oh boy. Yeah, I look forward to having a skimmer to clean out. Honestly, I really do.
Oh, look at that.
I can
nice
smell
soup.
Oh, we're just out of camera range there. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Good to hear, Kevin. Really good. Sorry, Alex?
I didn't think that's the thing you'd want to go full screen on. Is let's watch the skimmer get clean.
Come on, we like to see the grunginess.
Yeah.
Things, don't we?
It's not too bad. So
Is this from the casket tank? Oh,
yeah. What, you don't clean your skimmer by hand?
Well, if I do, I wear gloves. I can tell you that.
My wife, we still don't have something outside here, to clean. So I still need to go into the kitchen, and she always yelling at me, "Are you here with that stuff again? I'm gonna be so happy when it's finished outside."
Exactly.
You don't need to bring it inside anymore.
Well, in our house, it's my husband, because I'm terrible for leaving power heads in containers in the sink. And well, not here at the other house, but yeah, it won't happen here because I have my, where is it? Right behind my finger there. I've got a utility sink there instead of a closet. Yeah.
Yeah, see, when I was in my townhouse during our first move, I had to clean this in the kitchen sink. And needless to say, I did that when she was not home and at work. And she'd still come home and be like, "You cleaned that skimmer today, didn't you?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah. Did it fit the sink? That cup? Or did you?
Not so much. It's more utility sink size because it's a very large skimmer for.
Because I always spill water over the counter and stuff. Oh, I hope she's not watching, because I know she's also subscribed to you, Cindy.
Oh, is that right?
So but you put it under the crane, and then it splashes, but there is so less room. Yeah, then it's over the counter. It's drifting off the cupboards and dripping off. Oh no, on the floor. Oh, damn it.
That's why I'm enjoying the large utility sink now.
Yeah.
So
that's really good. That's what I'm going to have in the new building also, because
And even when I moved to the new house, I only had my downstairs bathroom sink, and this cup really didn't fit in there. And again, I got yelled at because my wife's like, "You're putting that in the brand new sink in the new bathroom in the new house."
Alex, you could have put it in the bathtub or under the shower.
Yeah.
Well, see, I did do that, and I posted a picture on my Instagram, and
Your
the
wife
next thing
called
I'm
you.
hearing is my wife yelling from upstairs, going, "What are you doing in the shower? Are you cleaning the protein skimmer in there?"
Oh
So
my
I
god.
had. It was December. I couldn't go outside and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Who knows
But-
the therapy and the microbe lift, the special blend?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that.
That
Hey.
smell. And then
Oh,
once I forgot to close the bottle and it was standing on the coffee table, in the living room.
of course.
Oh my god. And my wife came in. What did you do here? What did you do? What's that smell?
You can't get away with anything.
Oh no.
dead snails that you're removing and taking out. Like usually when that happens, I take them straight outside and I just pitch them in a garden or something.
Yeah.
But sometimes that'll get caught on what is that, or the bad one that I've gotten better with. It still happens is like I'll have cocktail shrimp prepared to feed, and I'll forget about a chunk of it in a cup of water and leave that there for a couple of days. Ooh, that's the wonderful, wonderful smell. So
Yeah, I had a bottle of Prime spill on my carpet, and that smell is pretty bad.
Oh, Prime. That one I don't know. I think
it's Seachem.
Oh yeah, Seachem. Oh, does it smells also?
It's got a pretty strong sulfur smell to it.
Oh,
yeah.
Like the special blend probably same smell.
That microbe lift, I used to use that in the freshwater tanks because we would really clean the gravel in the Oscar tank, because I mean the Oscars were this big.
Yeah.
They had a giant plecostomus. There's only the 3 fish in there, but the substrate was pebbles. It wasn't small gravel. So there was a lot of dirt that would go down there, and every month or so we would clean that out really, really well. And so I always poured the microbe lift in because, of course, there's a lot of bacteria and stuff down there. But yeah, that stuff was really, really gross. There's no winning with dead snails.
It's like opening a septic
it is
tank, Oh
yeah,
there it is, microfift. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah, Marcus's Reef says, "Don't chew your fingernails, Alex." See, it doesn't gross me out.
It works to your advantage sometimes. That's how I got my wife to agree to let me build a utility sink.
Yeah.
Yeah, just think of the benefits for you, honey. Oh yeah.
I'm working on letting me hook up a washer downstairs just for my filter sucks.
Oh, that's a good idea. There you go. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you do a utility sink. Think about raising it up higher, because not having to hunch over and work in it, it's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, the laundry cabinet that we got 2 of. One is in my fish room back there. Right there. It has 6-inch legs. So it is actually up 6 inches. It is exactly the right height that you can rest your forearms on it without bending over.
And that's just how I raised this up.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm 5'5". I'm not super short, but I'm not super tall. And it's the perfect height. And our kitchen sink in this new house, instead of getting a double sink, I just got one large sink. And it's one of those granite. It's like a dark gray. And it's large enough to bathe a child. I will say that.
We have put Sven in it in the new kitchen in the sink.
Yeah.
Before the bathroom was finished. This Sven, he could bathe in it. It was really nice.
Yeah. When my daughter was a baby, she often got a bath in the kitchen sink because it's the right height. It's
Yeah.
safer. It's actually safer. And yeah, so I like it because I don't have stuff all over the counter. You know, when you're waiting to empty the dishwasher and fill it again, it all fits in the sink and you don't see it. But
Yeah.
I have to say, I haven't yet cleaned anything out in there because, of course, I now have this sink in the laundry room. But anyway.
But I think it's easy for everything if you have your utility sink for the hobby. You know, with like with the skimmers and stuff, I'm also scared for scratches. Or I hate it if I put scratch, and then you put it in the sink, and then oh no, damn, it doesn't fit, and the crane, oh no, I made a scratch, and
high stakes. Ryan Shackleton. Definitely should do a stream on a Sunday again. Been really interesting listening to other reefers from Europe. Can't wait to show off my tank on the next Sunday stream. Thanks, Ryan.
Cool.
That's good feedback.
Nice.
That's kind of what I was hoping for, that we could get some sense of what it's like. So, Kevin, when you do order things online, are they generally shipped from within the Netherlands, or do they come from all over Europe?
Yeah. Now, of course, I order from the how you call it, wholesale.
The wholesale, yes, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But before I ordered from a company here in the Netherlands, and yeah, so I most of the times next day or 2 days, and I had my stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Yeah, we're in Canada here because that's another thing that happens to businesses in Canada. When someone looks at Canada as a market, they see the population, they see that we're close to the border, but they don't understand the distances that things have to travel for shipping.
Oh.
So they feel like, oh, 35 million people, it's a good market, this many people are this and that and whatever. But the cost to ship from Ontario to even to Quebec, which is the next province, or Manitoba, is way, 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 way more than what they expect. And there's a lot of reasons for it. No sense going into it. But the hard fact is we're all spread out across 3,000 miles.
Yeah.
So where a country in Europe might be 60 miles wide or 100 miles wide, you know, we're 50 times that. So
yeah, that's right.
It's just crazy. That's something that companies here really struggle with.
Yeah, but take for instance Belgium. If you drive from north to south, it's just 2 hours, and you've been through the whole country.
Yeah.
2 hours.
It's crazy.
And Holland is like around 3 hours.
Yep.
So that's you cannot compare it. No.
And it's often overlooked. You wonder if people never look at a map when they want to set up here. And
if I need to drive the same miles, like you have to go to a next province or something, then I am in Italy.
Sure, yeah. Exactly. Well,
or Sweden or yeah.
If we want to drive to the next province west of us, Manitoba, it takes us 3 days to get out of this province driving.
Oh, no.
Most of it in the northern part is all rocks and trees, and that's all there is in a highway. It's just crazy.
3 days. 3 days. So then I don't know how far I am then. I drive to Sweden in 11 hours. And between us and Sweden is the Netherlands, is Germany, Denmark, and then you come to Sweden. So in 11 hours.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. We wouldn't even get to the first place we could stay, like at a hotel. Like it's crazy. All the population is near the border.
But it's also probably, you don't have a straight road. You like you say, you have the mountains, rocks, and trees. You probably need to go a lot of like this and around, and
or we need to go around bodies of water. That's the main thing.
Same also,
Where we live is all the Great Lakes are here.
Yeah.
So it looks like the way the crow flies is not very far, but if you actually want to stay on land while you're going,
Mhm. Then it's
it's a
far.
long way around.
Probably you have lakes as big as Belgium or the Netherlands. So
Yeah,
yeah,
or bigger.
or bigger.
Very true. Yeah, so true. Oh, hey, there's Reefing with O. Hey, O.
Hey, oh, hi.
Marcus's Reef says, nice, Alex. Always enjoy watching the progress. And
Hi.
Johnny Martinez, this stream awesome. ReefGrrl, Alex, G, and K Reef. I think it's so cool with your build. Following you guys are educational, so thank you. This is good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Diacanthus says at least rocks and trees is better than corn and beans. Yeah, well, if you go off the road onto corn and beans, it's not so bad. If you fall asleep and go off the road into rocks and trees, it's a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better to look at. Yeah, that's right. Better to look at.
Well, this has been awesome.
We have behind us horses, and behind that is a big how you say that in English? You know, you have apples and you have a pear.
An orchard?
Yeah, it's an orchard with but not apples, but the pears. We say pear.
Yeah, they're shaped like this, and they're green.
Yeah, the green. Yeah.
Pears. Yeah.
So and then forests. So and for the rest, it's all open country. So I can look really far away. So it's really nice here.
Yeah. Yeah. Where are you? Like, are you in the north or the south? My geography bad. West, east.
From the Netherlands, I am in the south, and for Belgium, because I'm on the border, I'm in the north. But I'm living in the south of the Netherlands, so all the way on the bottom. Actually, the part where I live, it's called Zeeuws-Vlaanderen. So the Flemish side, and Flemish is from Belgium actually. So this part is between water. So we have, so there is water between us and Belgium, and water between the biggest part of the Netherlands and us. So they say we are like a forgotten part, and actually they say this part of Holland or the Netherlands is our reserve.
Resort?
No, wait. Spare Belgium. Spare Belgium. Yeah, they are not from the Netherlands. They are spare Belgium. So I am born in Belgium, so I am from Belgium. I have always lived in Antwerp, the city, and I came here around 12 or 13 years ago. So because the house is much cheaper here, and it's better to work in Belgium and live here in the Netherlands for the taxes and everything. So it's really
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But it's really nice here. It's still not a lot of. It's just all small villages and a lot of nature. And but anyway, we only have to drive 10 to 20 minutes to a big city. So it's really good.
That's ideal.
Yeah.
Reefing with those, hey, K Reef, how's Virgil? LFC misses him. I don't know what that means, but.
Huh?
Oh, sorry, did I take it away?
Thank you. Virgil? Who's don't. I don't know what he's talking about. How's Virgil?
Maybe he's thinking of somebody different.
Yeah? Or maybe I forgot who Virgil is.
Hey, Alex, Johnny Martinez says that caulk gun looks great. Does it have a sawzall also? I don't know what a sawzall is.
Yeah, I got that too.
Or a sawzall?
Reciprocating saw.
Ah, got
Oh,
it.
Van Dijk.
But no, this is a very good investment.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Hey, DMV Silverback G. Welcome. So I think this has been working. This has worked out great. We seem to have caught people I haven't seen for a while, and so great to have you, Kevin, and Cue Balls, and also, of course, Alex. We always want to see what you're doing. And the guys in the UK, I'm thinking if they next stream, if they are able to come in early, we can maybe get them while their tank lights are still on, depending on what they what their timing is like. Oh, this has been really good. It's already almost 4 o'clock.
3-hour stream again.
Crazy, man. I
For
know.
me, it's almost 10 p.m.
Oh, yeah, that's
almost
good.
almost bedtime. I need to go up 4 a.m. So no, sorry, 3 a.m. because I need to leave 4 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
So soon it's bedtime.
Yeah.
Am I Virgil van Dijk? Am I? Sorry, I think I am, or I forgot him, or I'm missing something.
Virgil van Dijk.
I cannot place it.
I have a question for you, Kevin. I'm going to show you a word, and it's a clean word, so come on, behave.
Okay.
I'm wondering what the correct way is to. Oh my goodness. Oops. I want to edit this one. Okay. This is the name of a town near where we live now.
Welcome everyone. That's easy.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Hi,
Tina.
How is this pronounced? Okay, where is it? There it is. Verschoil?
I would say Verscholen.
Verscholen. Okay.
Verscholen.
All right. It's a little town near where I live. This whole area is Dutch. There's a lot of Dutch people here. It was all tobacco farms back in the day, and a lot of them are Dutch reform. So not a lot happens here on a Sunday.
No, I believe that. They don't even watch TV then.
No. And everyone always says Verschoil.
For sure, yeah.
Verschoil, and I always thought, and I thought it was maybe Verschoil, but Verschola is probably more.
Yeah, I would say Verscholen, and to me it looks like a family name, Verscholen.
Oh, okay.
It looks, but if you would translate Verscholen to English, it is like hide it. It's hide it. So you hide it. It's hide it. It's hidden. Yeah, it's hidden. It's a hidden spot. So that village is a hidden Verscholen.
That's cool. That's pretty cool. Well, there's Tina.
Hidden. It's hidden.
I
sometimes it's not so easy always to come on the words or make a right sentence. So I do my best.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Oh, we just had Reefing with O pop in. So I think we should say hi to Seymour. Haven't seen him for a while. Hey, Seymour. How's it going? Or Oral, I guess?
Yes. Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hi.
Hey, Alex. AK Reef.
Hey.
You don't watch football? You're like the only guy who's Dutch who doesn't watch football that I know.
Oh, now I know. Now I can place it. Oh my God. Now I know the name. Yeah.
Here we go. Ryan Shackleton just gave the answer too. He's a footballer who plays for Liverpool and he is Dutch. Okay.
Yeah. Now I know that. Yep. I only watch football when it's the World Cup. That's the only time when I watch football. Otherwise, I have no time to watch football or follow football. Yeah. But I know some of them. But now I know, who you meant.
How's everyone doing? This is a great time slot, by the way.
Good. You like
Tired.
you like it?
Yeah,
it's-
because
you
our
know,
tanks are not sleeping. Our tanks are not going to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. DKH likes it. Ryan Shackleton says it's been a great stream. Yeah, I actually kind of like it. I'm almost awake now.
Last time I said hello on the stream, I think it was last week. Yeah, then it was like 4 a.m. for me here.
Yeah.
Or 3 a.m. 4 a.m.
Yeah. The hard part, before I chose the time, I did see who I could find that also streams, because I try to avoid overlapping if I can. I don't want to just start up and but, it's two-sided. I don't want people to have to choose and end up with people having to pick one or the other, whatever, whoever it happens to be. And so somebody mentioned Tidal Gardens does their, I guess, monthly live show, and Melev's Reef does Sunday afternoons sometimes. So I'll have to look into what times they are and maybe adjust this a little bit one way or the other, because it's 1 p.m. for me. I could go to 11 or to, probably better to go a little earlier to pick up more of Europe during daytime.
But a lot of people, like, if you now for me, you started at 7 p.m. My time.
Yeah.
But if you go like an hour or 2 hours earlier, everyone is eating here.
True.
So that's also a difficult one.
Yeah, that's
most
true.
people they have their dinner. Is it? Yeah.
Yep.
At 5 or 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's very true.
I think Milev and Tidal Gardens go on Saturdays. As far as I know, Milev streams on a Saturday afternoon, so it's the right time, but I think it's the wrong day. I think they both do Saturday.
Okay.
There's actually overlap between those two sometimes, but they do Saturdays, not Sundays.
Okay, so maybe Sunday would work better.
Yeah, I like this. The kids are,
there's not a lot of streams on Sundays.
Yeah.
No. When I streamed, I always did it on Sunday also.
Yep, Ryan Shackleton says it's 9 p.m. in the UK. Oh, 9 p.m. in the UK.
Yeah, 10 p.m. here. We are one hour apart to UK.
Hey,
I think it's about 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. in Australia, so I think that's the only one that's the time zone is kind of out.
And Malaysia and Philippines, they're in the middle of the night. Yeah, I felt I wasn't going to catch everyone. And of course, there's the international date line, so it's actually Monday instead of Sunday in some of those places. So, Camaro kid, I'd rather watch ReefGrrl than eat dinner, especially the way my wife cooks. Oh boy!
Oh no!
Oh, that's a dangerous comment. Oh my god!
Well, you guys are what makes us. Like, come on, really, everybody in the chat and who comes into the studio, because how boring would it be, just to have one person sit there and just talk the whole time? It's way more fun when you can look at other people's fish tanks.
I think this, like what you do, I like it a lot. It's nice. You are with a couple of reefers. You can share your. Oh my God! It's getting too late. I can't speak anymore. You can share your. Help me.
Hobby.
Experience. Yeah. Someone is awake there. What was experience? So and show tanks and stuff.
Yeah.
I dropped my macro lens, so I was cleaning it.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Hey, eventually I might actually have water and something here that'll be a little more impressive than an empty box.
Yeah.
Yeah, but are you going to break it down again after 1 year, Alex, or and move again? Or no, this time you keep it long. Okay.
The last one got 3 years before it was torn down, so this one should hopefully be a lot longer.
Yeah, but they were also nice in the other house. Your tanks.
Yeah.
It must have been a hell of a job break it down and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's hard to cut something up that you work so hard to build.
Yeah.
So, but I guess I learned a lot of lessons from that build, and it was a fun experience and taught me a bunch of things that I'm going to implement in this build. So,
Yeah.
plus I got so much stuff already. I'm able to build a lot of this and not have the expense again.
Yeah, that's true.
That's also true.
Yeah, Tony
That was-
Cole says last Sunday would be good for global, but keeping Saturday would be true to your original stream. 9 p.m. now. Normally it'd be 5 a.m. Yeah, that's good to know. Maybe if the Sunday is good, swap it around. Anyway, I'm sorry, Alex. I interrupted you about it was talking about your taking down.
Oh no, that's all I had to say on it.
He was finished. Well, I'm gonna take the moment now then to say bye, because I really have to go now.
Okay.
Go up early. I enjoyed it a lot. We're happy to be with you here, and the other guys, Alex and O and Q Balls Reef.
Cue balls.
What?
I'm
Q
the new
Balls
guy.
Reef.
Yeah.
You're the new guy on the block. Oh,
Well, thanks for taking the time, Kevin. I really appreciate it. And the tour was great. And hopefully we'll see you again with
yeah.
Dave.
I was really happy that you did this. So that's why I said to my wife, I can't miss this. I need to jump in and say hi.
Awesome. Well, hi, and have a good night and stay safe.
Yeah, same for all of you and everyone watching.
Yeah. And we'll
Good
speak.
talking to you.
Good night.
Yeah. Night. Bye-bye.
Good.
Bye. Good night.
That's cool.
Oh, your tank's looking good.
Yeah, I'm going to put O full screen here.
I am happy that I have not screwed it up yet. This is my first foray into like SPS dominant. I've had mixed tanks before, and I think waiting for it to grow out is like the hardest part, because I'm a tinkerer, and you just have to resist the urge. So I'm tinkering with the Nano with my 25 Lagoon. My kid's 25 Lagoon. It's technically not mine, but so far it's working. I'm in the process of removing my sand. I want to go bare bottom and crank up the flow. So I started bare bottom, didn't like it, put sand in, and now I'm in the process of taking the sand out again. So we'll see. But yeah, everything's looking good. My SPS are growing. I think out of all the corals I've put in, I think only 2 are not doing well. I don't know why. They do okay. The skin recedes, then it grows back, then it recedes. So I haven't taken the skeletons out yet. I just leave them there. But yeah, everything else is looking good. Let me see if I have any regrets corals wise. I think I put a piece of red planet in here that someone gave me, and I didn't realize red planet creates such a big base. And in a 4-foot tank, I mean, I've only had the coral in there about 3 months, and it's already at about a 6-inch base, and only growing more. But so far, yeah, I'm excited.
It's looking good. There's really a lot more going on in here than the last time we saw this tank, I think.
I think everything's just grown. I haven't added any. I think the last time I was in the process of clearing the frag rack on the right, and I think I just added more stuff to it, but I haven't added in. I was watching a Neptune Systems live stream, and there was something that I saw Terrence did where I got some corals, and there were some friends, and I think corals you get from friends, you sort of, you kind of value those a little bit more, and I had no space for those. So I added a new piece of rock and mounted the coral to it. That's something that I see Terrence from Neptune Systems do a lot. So I tried it, But other than there's like you see like a white piece of rock here, I haven't added anything. It's just, I guess it's growth, I guess.
Wow. Hey, Ryan Shackleton. He says, better go now and spend time with the girlfriend. Enjoyed the stream. Was good to meet new reefers. Looking forward to showing off my tank on the next stream. Night all. Good night, Ryan. Thanks for coming by. It's been great. And I also look forward to seeing what you have going on there. So watch for the video. Good night.
I guess the thing I am tinkering with is my NEM tank. There was a bigger gap between it and the tank last time, and I just put them together to sort of hide the wires, because there's a bunch of wires. And then, as lazy as I am, instead of hiding the wires, I just put the tank, instead of cleaning up the wires, I just put the tanks closer to each other to hide the wires. But
it works.
The NEM tank, I think a lot of space. So I was thinking of trying a whole new aquascape for this, sort of. I saw Jake Adams did a recent video where he had sort of like a little rock wall on the back. It looked stupid when he first did it, but once he added corals to it, it did, I like the way that looked. So I want to see how that will look for a NEM tank.
Huh, that'd be cool. Yeah. I guess the big trick with the NEM tank would be getting them to stay where you want them.
So there's nothing here. So what I've learned is that they don't, there's one big rock. It's like a pedestal rock. It's pushed over to one side now because the flow's here. And but they tend to stay on it. And then when they run out of space, when you see them on the glass, that's when you know that they've split and they run out of space. And it gets fed heavy because there's 2-3 clownfish in here that you don't ever see because they just live in the in the NEMs. So the tank gets fed heavy. So I guess that's why they grow so fast and split.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're all from the same. And then another friend of mine just this week gave me, this one looks a little bit darker. That's a black widow. But they're all from the same.
Wow. So that goes, sorry, go ahead, Cue Balls. Was that you?
That was me, Alex. So, you said that's a black widow in there and those other ones aren't black widows?
Yeah, it was given to me as a black widow.
I just keep an eye on. I've kind of experienced it in my temp tank, but sometimes bubble tip anemones will go to war with each other.
Absolutely. I've experienced that before, and that was my thinking for, sort of redoing it. Because I've had these NEMs, and then I've tried putting green bubble tip NEMs, and the other type of NEMs just always lose. So yeah, you're right. But so far, they seem to be working. But that was one of my thought process for getting more surface area.
Interesting. Oh no, we're here.
Have you guys seen, I saw Tidal Gardens had it. I've seen a couple others where it almost looks like they're grafting sea anemones now.
Really?
Really?
That's cool.
I don't know if it's just a weird color morph, but Tidal Gardens had one that it looked like it was mostly like a blue-green, but then there were it almost looked like I guess the best way to call it was like a grafted sea anemone where there was other colors running through it, splotchy.
So, Alex, if you're talking about a sea anemone, do you mean the specific one they call the sea anemone, or just anemones in general?
No, it's just one I saw Tidal Gardens that just had it on their Instagram or something where it was just really weird in a color mix.
Huh.
I'll tell you what I've noticed, Alex, is that depending on where they are, the colors. So the light on this is a Radeon Gen 5 XR15, and that's overkill for a 10-gallon tank. But I'm gonna take my phone off the. That is the same. Let me take off the cover. That is the same nem that you guys just looked at. That's the same. One just escaped. And look at the color difference. Just being in this the same lights,
Huh.
same water, but that one to these, like that one just has a green middle that has 3 colors. And I'm not saying these are nice, but it's just, you know, it's different. Look at that. That one looks much nicer.
And you think the one on the 10-gallon, maybe the light is too intense for it?
But it's the same light. I mean, I've tried
But it's not
reducing.
the same height above the water, though, is it?
You know what? I can take par measurements and I can confirm that.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a Senai. In fact, I need to
Yeah,
do some par measurements again.
I found the picture I'm looking for on Tidal Garden's Instagram.
Okay.
This thing is funky looking.
And also, I gave one of these to. I mean, I can't show the photo now because you know, I'm on my phone, but I've seen it under a different set of lights, and it looks completely different. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're just chameleon or I don't know. So I think depending on the tank, the flow, the colors can change.
Yeah, I feel like that applies to a lot of things that we keep. You know, you can never really have identical conditions from one tank to the next, and some of the critters reflect that more than others, you know?
Mm-hmm. I have this, I think this is an open brain, and it's being choked out by these green zoas. And I've tried to cut them off, and within 2 months, it comes back.
Huh. Have you tried to encase them in like Epo putty or something like that? Like if you were able to take out this, because I'm assuming the brain has a skeleton of some type. It looks like a symphilia. If it has a skeleton of some type, maybe you can get the I think pallies or whatever they are off of there and then put putty over top of where they were. Maybe they wouldn't come back.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Like I've entombed many an unwanted zoanthid or green star polyps or those little blue clove polyps. You can only get so many off. And then after that, I just kept putting layers of putty over top of them. And pretty soon I reached a point where they weren't coming back anymore. Took a while.
That's a good idea. That is a good idea.
It's worth a try if you've tried everything else.
They just keep coming back.
Oh, Alex is showing the photo.
Ooh, look at that, man.
Oh no, O wants it now. Wow.
Wait, show that again, Alex. Let me see that again.
Isn't that weird? It almost looks like it was grafted or something. Because see how the color is like splitting on a tentacle?
It's the Nexus burst anemone.
Yeah, it's really weird.
I wonder what it looks like with the naked eye, i.e. like not a filter.
That's what I would want to see.
It probably looks like dollar signs.
Oh, so true. That would be a subject for an entire live stream, wouldn't it?
Oh man, I can't
Let's
afford
look at
it. I already know how O's working here. He's already searching this Nexus burst anemone.
Yes, I am.
It says that they've been farming them for a while, which tells me that they must have many of them. So
Well, yeah, if you, I mean, anemones just tear themselves in two. They split. So I'm assuming if you have a nice one, they're probably not going to all be that nice. But if the anemone tears itself in two, then it's probably going to have a few tentacles, depending on where it tears itself. A few tentacles, you know, with that. But yep, I was not following Tidal Gardens on Instagram, but I am now.
yeah, it was just really weird because I've never seen a bubble tip. They usually have kind of a uniform whatever pattern they have with them, they don't like half and half like that on tentacles or parts of them. I've never seen that.
Interesting.
So
Yeah,
the next
this-
one is going to be the special food that it gets that creates that, and it's available. It'll be available from Tidal Gardens.
Oh, jeez. Don't give somebody an idea right there. I could see that. I could see that. You want things to look like they're grafted? Start feeding them this.
Exactly. Well, Diacanthus says maybe a spawning product. I know you'll get that with coral, not infrequently on concentrated growths. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
until-
probably. I was gonna say that it's probably, you know, when two anemones probably reproduce sexually
yeah.
and created that morph, and then that morph just keeps tearing.
Yeah.
It'll
And
create that.
kind of like puppies. You know, they say if you're looking for distinctive markings on certain breeds, when they're puppies, you have to get the one that's really, really darkest in color, because as it grows, those markings become more dilute. So maybe it's similar with corals. You know, you get the piece of the new anemone or the baby, and it's really concentrated color, and then as it grows and gets bigger, perhaps the color becomes more diluted. I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm going to have to look that up later. Diacanthus. When two anemones love each other very much. This is the reward.
I always thought it was the clownfish that brought the anemones. I don't understand.
Yeah. Instead, the storks bring the babies and the clownfish drop the anemones. Oh, you've got a big nasotang in there. That is a nice looking fish. Always awful.
I think O's already on the phone with Tidal Gardens trying to get Fan on the phone.
On the website.
That's why he didn't respond. He's like, hey, someone showed me this. I have to have it.
I
hope he has his
am.
accountant on the other line.
I am so like that. Yeah. Yeah, cue balls. I am so like that. I see something I wanted. I got to get it right now.
I am trying to. I didn't know. I didn't know Fan does Reef to Reef live sales. So I'm actually trying to find them on Reef to Reef now.
Oh.
So
Yeah, I think he does those once a month.
I know he does live sales on YouTube, but not live sales on Reef to Reef. So it says he'll be listing it on Monday, which is tomorrow. So I'm just trying to find him.
I'm just loving looking at these two tanks with the fish swimming everywhere. I so miss that, not having a reef in my house. It's killing me.
Soon.
I need to have a sump in my house. Yeah, soon. Anybody want to see the pictures? I took some pictures today. Too
Yeah,
bad.
sure.
Okay. Oh, thanks for saying yes. So we've been working on the sump. I just did the video that covered getting everything water tested, the ATO thing and all that. That came out the other day. So here's the radiant heating system results so far. Look at that. And that it pretty much only varies by 0.1 or 0.2 of a degree. Of course, the top one is the actual temperature, and the bottom one is the set temperature. So that's working. And the sensors are in the 150. So they're not in the final chamber that has the piping. They are actually 150 gallons away in the second major tank. So that's working. And here's the ATO, the smart levels all set up. And they are working, but I do have them set up in a non-standard way to actually get them to work, so the aqua lifters don't time out before enough water has been put in. So those things are working well. And this is the latest, and I'm not going to tell you what it's made of, but it'll be a video soon. This is to help with humidity and evaporation and all of that. Look, pretty cool, eh?
Pretty.
I like it.
See the natural dip in the middle to allow condensation to run down to a central point and drop back in? Yeah. Yep. So I will have a video on this as part of the ATO setup to show the covers. So yeah, it went better than thought. That was my husband's handiwork there. We looked at a lot of different options for lids for those things, and that's what we came up with. So there you go. Videos to come.
Yeah, I enjoyed the one where you were trying to balance the water.
I know. It's just that pump was too strong. I could not believe it would be too strong for what it was doing, because those pumps ran the Red Sea tank. And so I'm thinking now that the one with the cracked impeller, that's the one that was in the tank. That cracked impeller allowed me to run that pump at 6, and it worked. So if I had put a normal one in there, it probably would have been overkill for the Red Sea tank as well. So anyway.
I think I was more impressed with the reservoir gauge.
Oh, the fill thing.
The fill line, yeah.
Oh, that I'll tell my husband. We've refined that further because we realized a few things when it was actually in use. So it looks a little different. It's exactly the same principle, but it looks a little different now than before, because we realized that what we thought was important wasn't important. So I'll show you all that when I do the video on that particular thing as well, and a little more detail about what's inside the tank and the reservoir and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's good to know if the apocalypse ever comes. I'm going to find as many reefers as I can, because we can create just about anything.
I know, right? I was always thinking, if Yellowstone ever blows, the first place I'm going is to the dollar store to buy every solar-powered light I can find, I can get my hands on, and bring them home and try and join them all together.
So Reef Builders had an article on this Nexius burst anemone.
Ooh.
Eye-catching coral. Looks like they.
Ooh, I'm trying to find a price. I'm gonna be checking out the price tomorrow.
Well, let's see what the Google says.
Got to wonder if Than knows that he's sitting on a gold mine.
Oh, he knows.
I think no doubt.
He bought it from someone else, but I think it looks like eye-catching coral was one of the first ones to have them.
Cool.
But now I'm like trying to see if somebody has a price here.
This is going to be more popular than the weeping willow from Bahama Llama.
Oh.
Do we need a mortgage?
I don't know if I don't know if O's gonna like the price on that.
Maybe you can trade them for some extra radions.
Hey, what's the price?
Well, this was a post from January 1st this year, and it said it was 30% off at $2,440 or $2,240.
Oh my God.
Oh.
No? Are you in the other room getting his credit card?
Wait, huh?
I mean, honestly, it would be a good investment if you had a good anemone setup ready to go for it.
Yeah,
just start getting them splitting.
If you had a 10-gallon tank with lots of light, and
I don't know if I'd risk putting that one with other bubble tips.
I would want to see it first, because my bubble tips, I had them, and I noticed that the strain doesn't get very big. It splits. When it gets to about 6 inches disc, it splits. It doesn't get big, much larger than that. I know I've seen Colorado sunbursts that get huge and don't split. So it really depends. First of all, I wouldn't buy anything for that price. Like, that would be the single most, like, one of the most, Okay, you
One
know
of
what? When
one of those. He's being
no,
careful.
no, no, that
Wife is
that
probably in the room.
that would be the single most expensive thing I've bought for an aquarium, and I'm not doing that for a nymph.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. 24. Wait, 30% off 24, or that's 30% off?
Yeah, that was with 30% off. It was like $3,200.
Hey,
I go to. I'm sorry. I
a
was gonna
year
say.
from now, it'll be like, so there'll be so many of them. You'll probably be able to get one at a ReefGrrl for $60.
I don't know though, because when you think about the Black Widows and the Colorado Sunbursts or the Chicago Sunbursts, they still fetch a really high price.
So they must be slow splitters.
Yeah, they get bigger. They don't split. Like I was saying, my nem, they don't get too big. They tend to split. You feed them heavy, they grow fast, but they split once they get to about a 6-inch disc, which, I think I have 16. And you can get one if you feed it heavy to about 6 inches in about 6 or 7 months. So when you have a lot of them and they split, you can sell. But I've seen like Colorado sunbursts that get huge. I think I've seen them where they're 12 inches across. So you can, that's, I don't know. And I've also seen corals at Reefapalooza where I just think they're mostly marketing or they're just showpieces where, it's meant to attract people to the booth, where I don't think people will buy corals. Like I've seen shrooms and for like thousands of dollars at Reefapalooza. And, you'll ask about it and it's not for sale. It's just for show. But
yeah, I saw it when I was in Chicago at Reefapalooza. There was a guy that had some acanthophilias. He had 3 of them, and one was a gold color. And I asked him the price. He said $2,000, and it's already sold. So, I've spent $600 on a coral recently, but it's not really like spending the money because I'm essentially using my gift cards that I got for trade-ins. But that would be the retail price if I didn't buy it. That would be the price that he had on it for anybody that wanted to buy it. So it's I don't know. It depends on. For me, it depends on the mood I'm in. If it's something that I don't think I'll ever see again, that makes me think more seriously about, okay, is this something I should get right now? Rather than wait and see whether there are more available down the road. So that's why Acropora, I think it's crazy to spend the money that people spend on the Disneys and the home wreckers and all of that, because eventually they'll spread out into the marketplace as the hobbyists get them and they grow and they start fragging and going to frag swaps and things like that. So
always trade.
Well, I think it's more of to me, when you're making a purchase like that at this price, with it being something that's rare that can be cultured, I think, the idea is that if most people are buying these right now at this price, it's probably, unless they just have a ton of money, they're probably buying it so they could start farming them so they could sell them.
sure, yeah.
Because that's what I would do, is I'd just be like, is it worth the investment and can I get a good return off of it?
We were
I
joking.
just did that.
We were joking when I bought my Space Invader Pectinia that was about 1.25 inches across for $260. My husband started calling it the investment coral. And it was just a joke because I had no plans to ever frag it. But eventually I did frag it because it ended up going through a couple tank crashes and it essentially separated itself all over the skeleton. So I could cut pieces off. And I got 18 frags out of the thing, and the average retail they sold for in the store was around $150. So when you look at it that way, it truly was an investment coral. Yeah, Keyballs, I think I interrupted you. You were going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, I just found a piece on unique corals, and it's being sold as a weeping willow toadstool. So we'll see when it gets here if it truly is. But
Mhm, mhm.
it was 3 corals on one piece of rock, and 2 of them are just Ricordia mushrooms. But if I can truly get a weeping willow and frag that, I mean, those are super rare to come by. So I was surprised that they even had it on their website, but they only had 2 frags. And this will be my most expensive coral. I spent $250.
As far as Jake Adams is saying, no one else should have the weeping willow, but like him and Bahama Llama. But I think the guy who owns Unicorals does know Jake Adams well. So if he's selling weeping willow, then I think he's talked to Jake, because Jake said he had that coral for years and he never fragged it and never gave it to anyone except Sanjay.
Interesting.
And then once Jake made that video, all of a sudden Top Shelf, and Jake recently did a interview on Reef Bum, and he called out a few of those, Top Shelf and other guys who were selling weeping willow, and said no, they're not weeping willow, because as far as I know, it didn't come from mine.
Yeah,
that's why I was apprehensive at first. But I mean, if you break it down, I'm getting 3 corals for $60 a piece, so it's not terrible.
Yeah. Well, Louis Blom, welcome, Louis. I see from what you wrote here, and I thought the coral here is expensive, but 600 is 9,000 rands, 3 months salary. So welcome from South Africa. That's cool.
Jake Adams and the guy for Unicorals, they know each other really well. In fact, I think at one point Jake used to work there. So I think if it does say weeping willow, I think you can have some confidence in that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I called mine a weepy toadstool, because when I bought it, it was from a place in the States. I can't remember the name of the business. It was in Ohio somewhere. And it was labeled a weeping willow. But I know the difference. It is that when there's no flow, the weeping willow polyps droop down. They lay flat. Mine don't do that, but they're exceptionally long. And if you watch the video for this live stream, I opened with a shot of that toadstool. And it has turned into a stunningly beautiful piece. And it wasn't that expensive, like $49 US or something like that. But I mean, I never really thought it was a weeping willow. I just bought it because it had super long tentacles and I liked it. And so I named it the weepy toadstool.
That's the toadstool I've got in that shot right now. They say it's a long tentacle, but the tentacles on there are probably an inch and a half.
Yeah.
I just like the way they flow.
Yeah. Well, and I've noticed when I was at my daughter's the other day, the female clownfish dives in and out of the toadstool. And she has that bobbing, hosting behavior in that toadstool. So it's going to be interesting when I bring all of that stuff over here and put it in the 150 stock tank, whether I can put it in such a way that the clownfish and the toadstool can be in proximity to each other without getting irritated by any of the other fish. Yeah, diet can't. Point. Yeah, it's really pretty. It's at the very beginning of my video that I did for the reminder for the stream here. Outside the Scully single polyp LPS, yeah, it's pretty easy to get returns for purchased coral. System upkeep cost is another matter. So true. I mean, if we do it, I think it's more to, when we do our own farming, it's more to acquire more items to collect than it is to pay for part of the hobby. At least it is for me. Yeah, Marcus's Reef, you do have a point. And I don't particularly, I don't know, I don't buy into that whole, this is such an expensive hobby, look how much money I have thing. I think it can be an expensive hobby if you let it, but there's lots of places you can use your money much more wisely. And I don't mind waiting a year to see if some of these things become more common, if they're that, if it's something I want that bad. Yeah, oh, I said before, you have a big naso tang in there. What a nice fish. Oh, he's gone again.
Nope, I'm here. He's at a point where I need to get him out now because he's obviously running out of space. I'm surprised how big he's gotten.
Yeah.
So I was using my fish traps / acclimation box to get these Antheus acclimated, and so now I need to get him out. Yeah, he is, and he's starting to fight with my gem tank, which is quite a joy in this tank.
Right.
But yeah, he is huge, and he's breaking stuff already, and the stuff, he's just, when he swims to the top, it's almost like he creates a wave by himself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I already have, someone who's interested. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
But he's nice and thick.
Yeah. I like my fish fat. I really like to look down and see healthy, like wide bodies on them.
I have a ton of flow here, so they get a lot of exercise sometime during the day where the flow just goes crazy. I have 2 MP40s and a Tunzi 6095.
Wow.
And I'm gonna add some more once I get the beer bottom.
And
it does make a difference.
You also have a group of chromis there.
Yes, started with 5.
Yeah.
And I think I lose 1 per year. Well, 1 every year and a half.
Yeah, because Cue Balls has 4 that he's had for several years. Well, he started with 6 or 7. I can't remember what he said.
6.
Yeah. 6.
Someone said if you want 3, start with 6. I think the longest I've seen someone who kept a group was, I think I see Billy Pipes had 5 for a couple of years, and they didn't fight. And that's why he was always careful to add fish to his tank, because then it would mess up the natural balance, and the pecking order would get reset, and they would start picking on each other again. So, but yeah, I got 3. So let me do a fish count. I have the Nassau, I have the Gem Tang, I have the Fox Face, I have 3 Chromis, I have a Royal Grandma, I have a Firefish, I have 4 Antheus, I have a Leopard Wrasse, and I have a Banana Wrasse / Chorus Wrasse. And I think there's another Wrasse there that I don't know his name.
And a couple clownfish.
Oh, yes. Forgot about them. Oh, man. Yes. I started with, I went to the fish store, Manhattan Aquariums, and something happened where I think the manager said, hey, I ordered like 20 firefish and got 100. So there were tanks with firefish everywhere. And I was like, hey, I'll buy 2. He's like, I'll give you 5. So I was like, okay. 5 for the price of 2. Like, I'll take it. And I think within 2 days, they all jumped out.
Oh,
boom,
geez.
boom. The minute I moved the cover to feed, bing, 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 they just jumped.
Oh,
you could hear them jumping. And 1 left, and he hasn't even attempted to jump since.
That's weird.
Yep.
Maybe he was the one that smelled funny, and all the others wanted to leave.
Could be. But man, they all.
Hey man, 24-hour stream, go.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Those days are gone. But I have a Pectinia, and they are so expensive here. I got this piece from Phil Reefkeeper. He sent me a piece. I cut it into and split it between my 2 tanks. And the one in the Nano died when I think my kid did something to the tank, but the other one is growing well. And I mean, for like a 1-eye frag, it's like $200. So it really is expensive for Space Invaders now.
Yeah, and I just bought a rainbow frag from my local fish store that has kind of a purpley blue with a peach color and green mouths, and it's really attractive. So I'm looking forward to seeing that grow bigger into a colony.
I like those. Is it because the color? People don't like them. I haven't come across one where I can purchase, but I do like those. I think people don't like them versus the Space Invader because maybe the colors aren't as bright or fluorescent. But I do like the way those look. I like
Yeah.
that. I've seen it in person, and
Yep.
maybe the frag is one of those corals where maybe the frag doesn't look good. But if you ever see a colony, the colony looks
Yeah.
yeah, if you probably see them cut up in frags in a fish store, it probably doesn't look impressive. But if you were able to see a colony, what a colony looks like, the
Yeah.
colony looks good.
Yeah. The thing about Pectinia is no two colonies look the same. They all have different growth habits. And I really think it has a lot to do with flow and lighting and, of course, alkalinity to build the skeleton because they grow so fast. But the rainbow types that I've seen have been more the typical chalice shape. I mean, they are chalices, and their shape is more like this, whereas the Pectinia is more sort of overall branchy than it is a chalice shape. The rainbows are different, and they do develop other colors. I saw the colony that they had at the local fish store, and it had blue in it as well.
Mm.
So it'll be interesting to see how it actually grows out. And that's what I like about them. You don't know what's going to happen. 6 months from now, who knows what it's going to look like. So,
That's
yeah.
a good. I am on the hunt. I'll turn my attention away from that nem and turn my attention to rainbow Pectinia because
Yeah.
yes.
Even that Space Invader that I had, I went from an 1.25 inch across with 2 eyes to that melon-sized colony in the space of, I want to say just over 3 years. So it does not take long, and you do have to leave them space. It's not something you can tuck in, among your other LPS corals and expect anything to survive. Because
So where I have mine, I have it where I have 2 corals that I sort of want to keep in check. I have a red Monty, which I'm not too fond of, and I figure if you put the Pectinia beside it, it won't grow in that direction at all because it'll get beat up. So
Yeah.
I put it in a place where I want it to sort of grow towards the back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping I also have a Pavona coral that was getting out of control.
Yeah.
And so I put it right in between those. So hopefully it keeps those 2 in check.
Careful placement. It makes a difference. Yeah, Telegram says the rainbows are pretty. Lynn, I guess Lynn Reef Nerd hooked me up. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I have so many corals in this tank from Lynn. The majority of corals you see in this tank are from, I think you see Acrobreeder on YouTube.
Yep. Yep.
From Reefkeeper Phil, from Lynn, which I've gone through a couple of crashes, and there's some chalices and other things I got from Lynn. And then I picked up a few here and there from my fish store. But I think I have Lynn, Acrobreeder, and Phil, Reefkeeper. Those are the 3 like YouTubers. Oh, and Dave. When Dave wasn't feeling so well.
Yeah.
I think I've told this story many times before, but I'll tell it again. But when I got NEMs from my friend who's no longer in the hobby, one of the few people who I gave NEMs to was Dave. And, when Dave got sick and he was breaking his tank down, my tank crashed and I lost all my NEMs. So I was able to get the NEMs that I gave to Dave. So if you look at the last few of Dave's video with the NEMs, I have all of those, and I was able to get. So I'm glad I shared them with him. I was able to get them back.
Yeah. I wish there was someone close by enough that I could do that with. But it just hasn't happened yet. Maybe as I live in this town a little bit longer, I'll discover some people because, half the street knows we're getting a giant saltwater aquarium already because of what the builder had to do to change the house to accommodate it. But yeah, Diacanthus says banking. Ravenclaw, hi-oh, how's it going, mate?
Ravenclaw, hey, mate. Are you not in Ontario anymore?
Yes, I'm still in Ontario. I used to live in a town called Paris, and we moved about an hour and a bit away from there. And now I'm much closer to the lake, a little farther from Niagara, but a little different direction. And it's just the building that's going on around here is much better planned than it was in the small town we left. Plus, I'm 45 minutes closer to my grandson, and that has made a big difference. We love the house. I love being here. Can hardly wait till spring when we get the grading is finished and the sod gets put in and the driveway gets paved, and it won't be long now. So yeah, so we moved in November. We got the house.
How far are you from Toronto, like downtown Toronto?
Right now, if we wanted to drive to Toronto right now, would take I want to say 2.5 to 3 hours.
Ooh.
Well, where we were in Paris was about 2 hours, or maybe just
Okay.
under 2 hours, depending on the traffic. But here is an hour. Well, not quite an hour further because it's like, the angles of the roads. We can get to the highway quicker. So I'd say
How
2.5
far?
to 3.
How far from Niagara? You said?
From Niagara, we used to be. Who did we lose here? Cue balls. Oh, okay, got it. Sorry. From Niagara, we used to be roughly an hour straight north, and now we're probably an hour straight west. But the travel there is not direct. So it's, instead of having a highway that we can get on that goes straight south, we've got all these other secondary roads that go all the heck over the place to make our way over there. So it's a little longer drive, probably closer in actual miles, but takes longer because there's no direct route.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so still fairly close. RV trip. Yeah.
I was trying to guess and see how far it would be to ReefGrrl New York, but man, that is after you get across the border, another 8 hours.
Yeah.
Because
when we went to Chicago, we drove, and we planned to drive, and it was like an 8 or 9 or 10 hour drive. I forget. We stopped once or twice, but it was doable in one day.
Okay, 10 hours to New York City is, just like what you said, there's no direct route. So you'll probably have to, cross down to Buffalo, then maybe to Syracuse and then down, something like that, where you stick on. But it's about 10. So it's about the same to Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, just a different type of drive, different country that you're driving through, and a little bit more through major cities. So yeah, maybe someday, but I don't know with the situation. I mean, the border's been closed for almost a year now, and who knows when it's going to open again.
Yeah. Well, who knows when these events are going to happen again. I saw that ReefGrrl Orlando is happening.
Oh yeah.
In May, but I don't think Florida ever fully shut down the way like New York has.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think they're playing it by ear, but I've seen posters, I've seen ads for ReefGrrl Orlando, and I think a lot of people are excited. I've seen little flag swaps where, they got really good, good attendance.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to work in Orlando, to be honest, but I'm excited to get back to some of the, when everything is over. I don't know when, but to get back to, going to some swaps.
Yeah, I have such a clear memory of when it all started because I had all the tickets and everything to go to the Niagara Coral Show, and the date of it was March the 17th and 18th, I think, or 18th and 19th. It was in the teens anyway, last year in the 2020. And I remember on March 11th, I don't know why I remember that date. I think it's because I wrote it down somewhere. I said to my husband, I don't mind abandoning the tickets. I don't care about the $25. I don't think I want to go to the coral show, because right then was when there was starting to be concern about going out in public, being in groups and all that kind of thing. And sure enough, 3 or 4 days later, there was an announcement that they were only going to close the show if the government said they had to. And they got such blowback from that, I think, from their customers, that they decided to cancel or postpone until the summer. And of course, July came and went, then the fall came and went. Now they're talking potentially, or they were talking May of this year. And I think now, once again, we're looking at September. So you just don't know, right? Look who's here. Oh, it's Paul, Reef Community Worldwide. And there's Woody's Reef. Look, they're doing a reefing with O raid.
What?
A reefing with O raid on the live stream.
I
All the boys.
I was wondering something was up when I started getting a bunch of messages. My phone started beeping.
Yeah. Hey, Paul and Woody, all you guys, nice to see you. This must be a good time for everybody, kicking back on a Sunday night and looking around to see what's going on.
They all came to see my reef.
Oh, of course. Was there any doubt? Hey, JD Aquatics, welcome. Yeah, it looks good. Your back wall looks really clean there, cue balls.
That's like deceiving.
Is it like a dark blue?
Yeah, I don't know what color it's turned into. It was just black paint, but it's definitely becoming, almost like a dark purple. But I cleaned it yesterday. I did a water change yesterday, and I'm getting like a weird turf algae on the back there. I have to scrape it like every other day. But I mean, the tank's 3 months old. I was kind of expecting this ugliness to come around.
Sure, yeah. Oh, hey, Acro Breeder, just got out of work. ATF in the house, nice to see you. Cairo International, good to check in on a wet, cold northeastern U.S. Sunday. It's kind of like that up here too. Yeah, UK invasion going on.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Something just happened where all of a sudden we got Ravenclaw, Woody, Paul, JD Aquatics.
Well, it's because they came to see Cue Balls Reef, and then they went, "Oh my God, Seymour's there. We got to go say hi." Looking good. I like your Blasto that you have there on the sand there. Oh, I have one of those. Mine grows really fast. Does yours?
I think so. It doesn't. You know what? I don't have it. It's just mounted to a plug, so I think it has to grow a base in order to get new polyps. Well, I think if I put it on a rock somewhere where it can spread out on a rock, it'll probably grow faster.
Yeah.
But I kind of like it the way it is. That's one of those corals that's been through all my tank crashes, my Kalkwasa crash, and just didn't lose a beat. I think it receded and just regrew. I haven't seen the skeleton in a while, but yeah, a friend of mine who's no longer in the hobby kind of, bought it for me. And I've had it forever. I've had it since before I knew how to take care of a tank, and it's been with me. It's moved around in different tanks. I've killed it. It's recovered, and I'm glad it's doing well again.
Yeah, they're pretty hardy. It's they will take a lot of beating before they give up. Usually, it's if something falls on them, in my experience, and stings them. That's when they don't really come back. Oh, hey, Hamburg Reefer. Nice to see you from Germany. That's cool. We come to O's tank. We never see him online anymore. Well, if we do this Sunday thing, there we go. You guys can come on and show what you got going on too. Yeah. What time is it? Oh, it's almost 5 o'clock. Wow.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be heading out here. I gotta get some dinner.
Yeah,
Me,
the
I
same.
gotta. Yeah, me too.
Yep, my chair is telling my hips it's time to stand up and stretch. But anyway, well, this has been really good. I enjoyed this little switch up, so I think I'll do it again. And for now, the last Sunday of every month, so that everybody kind of knows when it is, and hopefully I won't forget. And 1 p.m. seems to be a good time. But like I said, if anyone wants to leave comments under the replay, under the video when it's up, about how they feel about the time or what part of the world they're in and what would work for them, there's some flexibility either way. So yeah. So thanks, guys. This was really fun. And thanks
All right.
everybody in the chat. Yeah.
Always a pleasure. It was fun.
Yeah, it was. Everybody have a good evening and
Yeah.
see you next time.
Thanks, Alex. Good night.
Thanks for the invite.
And you too, Cue Balls. I appreciate the time you spent. It's been good. And Seymour, great to see you again as always. And I meant it when I said, Tech Talk Thursdays. I'd be up for that.
I'll think about it.
Maybe we can do a Tech Talk session on Sundays, like 20-minute Tech Talk.
Yes. Well, that sounds much more manageable.
More doable. Yeah. Well, this StreamYard program I really like because it's so simple. And I can have up to 9 more people on the screen, which would be a little chaotic. I'm not sure how well I could handle it, but it could be interesting to have, a discussion of different things once in a while. So yeah, think about it.
Absolutely. You know what? That would be a good topic. I think I like it. And we could probably start with controllers. Alex's favorite topic.
Yep, exactly. Or I could learn something to change my mind about, do I want a controller or not, right? With 600 are going, I might need one.
Yes, my view has shifted. I do like my controller. But, Jake Adams has been coining this phrase where he said, I am the controller. So I'm not ready to give up my controller yet.
Excuse me there. I have been saying I am the apex for like a couple of years now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
You should make a t-shirt, but you can't use apex, so.
Yeah, exactly. But I've said that before. It's up to me to get my hands in there and pay attention and do things. And I'm realizing that with a basement sump, it may be time to do something that I can check remotely, just for not having to go up and down, up and down, up and down all the time. Because it's easy when you walk into a room and you open the cabinet, you can see your sump and see right away if there's any problem. And especially our ATO alarm was deploying when I first set it up because the pumps were timing out, the aqualifters, and you can't hear it from upstairs at all. So,
okay.
I may have to come up with some sort of a compromise, I guess, at some point.
All right. I do like the Apex, but I'm also testing the Hydros
on
my nano tank. Yeah, there are some features for it. I'm not ready to put it on my main system yet, but there are some things about it I like.
Yeah.
It's much cheaper. Well, you know what? That can be one of those. We'll talk about that offline.
That would be a great thing, I think, to talk about for sure. So, Cool. That's cool. And I'll say hi to ATF in the house. I can't remember if I said hi, but hi. That 1 p.m. time next time, last Sunday of March. Sounds good. Okay. So thank you, everyone. We've still got 30 people in here, and thanks to everyone who came at the beginning and hung out right to the end, and that includes anyone who's watching on the replay. And we will see you next Saturday night at 9 p.m. That's the normal time. And everybody have a good week. Stay safe and enjoy your reef tanks. Good night.